So anything you say now can and will be used against you.
It's like we're on a stage, and then there's
It's more like
zero
radio,
zero.
really.
Okay, thinking of a stage with like 0 to 10 people out in the audience listening.
0 to 10 sounds about right. That's about the numbers.
Yeah,
That's about the numbers I pull.
yeah. But if we were on a stage and there were 10 people in the audience, that would still be a little scary, right?
Okay, you're not wrong.
There you go. So really, we're pretty powerful and amazing.
Oh boy, you guys! I just looked at Twitch Prime. You can get 50% off Rick and Morty seasons 1 through 3.
Yep, I saw that a couple nights ago. It's not a bad deal if you're really into buying discs.
Wait, this? Oh,
I was just kind of being dismissive of Rick and Morty.
Oh, you don't like Rick and Morty? I like it quite a bit.
I don't like Rick and Morty fans. I have no opinion on the show.
Whoa.
I mean,
you're talking about. Are you talking bad about LRock?
I think the show is great, but I definitely think it's over. I wouldn't say overhyped, just overstated. Like, it's one of those shows that people just can't let. They just can't let it be, and that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like, can't it just be a TV show and not a phenomenon?
Yeah, the same thing happens. It's like the same kind of thing you see happen with shows like Steven Universe, where
I knew you were gonna say Steven Universe.
Where it starts off as this thing that, okay, people are enjoying it and that's cool, and then they turn into fucking monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, you can curse on this podcast, by the way. Feel free.
Wonderful.
We have no fucking standards.
I just burned my dick a little bit. Ow.
What?
I put my teapot down on my underwear, then I was like,
I know what kind of show this is going to be.
Well, this is certainly a show. Thank you for the host, LRock617. What a baller.
Hi, Rock.
Hey, what an awesome guy that person must be.
I like that guy a lot. Kind of sucks at Griffey, though.
This guy's horrible at Griffey. I watch him all the time.
Yeah.
I watch him be terrible.
Just awful. He'll get a winning season one day.
I don't understand.
One day in the grave.
Yep. I keep going over the idea of maybe doing an NHL 95 season in the same way that you've done multiple Griffey seasons, but it's just
I am 100% all for that. You should do that.
Yeah, I thought it might be fun.
It's a good time.
Because I love Griffey's winning run, but like, why would I steal your shtick? 1, 2. That's a lot of games. 162 games is a lot to play.
It's a different game than Griffey. You wouldn't be stealing anybody's thunder. It's a completely different game.
That's a good point.
It has, if I remember correctly, you can unlock the 2 expansion teams, and that alone makes it significantly different.
I didn't like that game as much though.
Well, winning run? No,
Yeah.
I didn't either. That's why I don't play it.
You can't get a hit. It's literally impossible to get a hit.
I never really thought of that being my issue with it. My issue with it was I just didn't find it as fun. Like, it's almost like it took itself too seriously as opposed to Griffey, which doesn't take itself seriously at all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't enjoy it as much. Like, Griffey just has charm at the wazoo.
Yeah. And it's got come on, so.
Right, it has humor all over the place.
Mm.
Even just like the umpire is something that can be a meme.
Yep.
Right, like the most southern accent ever you've heard in an umpire.
Fobble.
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 Ball. Rhett and John are sitting there
goodness,
like,
goodness,
what
goodness.
the...
I'm very confused. Yeah.
Damn it.
You have to see and or play the game to get it. It's memes galore if you want it to be.
Yeah, it's basically the only good baseball game. I said it.
Okay, I thought that we were talking about baseball games, but sports games. I was trying to figure out follow the vibe there.
You couldn't figure out which ball it was.
Figure out the conversation.
You knew there was a ball somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can separate the chat in its own window.
Yeah, just pop that out if you want to keep an eye on
Gotcha.
chat. And,
Cool.
and
Who cares about them?
I mean, for real. I mean, we're the stars here.
Obviously.
Cool. So, looks like we got some people that have already piled in, and I'd probably not much reason to keep them waiting much longer. So, What do you say we go ahead and throw it on into Sockscast episode 77. They said that we would never make it 77 episodes. Look at us now. I mean, that was an oddly specific claim to make, but I mean, 77, here we are. We did it, you guys.
Woo! Very lucky episode.
We're the best. We're the best. I am your host, Polly, of course, and to my immediate virtual right, he's a pioneer in the field of pseudoscience. It's Rhett.
I'm very good at faking things.
You heard it, ladies. Rhett fakes it. You ready for a goddamn podcast, Rhett?
Ooh, Jesus.
I guess.
Put some stank on that one. To my immediate virtual left, the saltiest peanut. It's John Thayer.
Hi.
How's it going, John?
Pretty good. I got my tea. I got my ginger ale. I got my water. I got my lemonade. I got my orange juice.
I've got a toilet for the massive piss I'm gonna have to take.
I gotta pee every 60 seconds.
When did I start going into fake beverages there? How many actual beverages do I have around me, and when did I start going into fake ones?
John, are you ready for a goddamn podcast?
Yes, I am.
All right, you're not gonna fake it like Rhett?
Never.
But he's gonna have to go to the bathroom pretty often.
Yeah.
That's true.
But
I have a really big bladder, actually.
Oh, Jesus.
This is all things we needed to know.
He ain't faking it.
He's not faking it.
I mean, once I did have a really long car trip, and then we had an empty 2-liter bottle, and then I was. No, never mind. You probably don't need to.
It's going.
Exactly.
Did it overflow?
Do I need to cut this off right now?
I tilted the 2-liter on its side, and then it was exactly half. So it's a liter of piss inside me.
Okay.
If it was exactly half, it would start spilling out.
This is a conversation.
Well, we sealed it before we tilted it.
Oh.
This is reality,
Yeah,
LRock.
yeah.
Well, this is what you signed up for.
You haven't even introduced me yet, and you're already calling me out.
I know, right? Our special guest. We haven't done a guest in a fucking year. So we're rolling out the red carpet for someone who I look up to a lot from a speedrunning perspective because he's a fucking beast. And he is an endless well of Simpsons quotes. Give me one right now.
On the spot, come on.
Oh, boo.
Come on.
Boo!
Hang on, alright, I got one. You should come to our house. It's full of valuable, worthless crap.
It is LRock617.
Hello.
How's it going, LRock?
It's going. Got a lot of stuff on the horizon. It's a going.
Do you have any pee stories that you would like to start the show with?
Plead the fifth. Or should I say Pete the fifth?
Pete the Fifth, I was about to say. What have we done?
Gonna Pete the fifth.
Oh my god. So, alright, like I said, prior to me not rudely introducing him and then introducing him afterwards, LRock is a crazy good speedrunner, just hugely involved with the community, and has so many freaking awesome things coming up that I think we kind of need to condense them all, right here. LRock, what the hell do you have on the horizon? Because there's so much shit coming up that I think needs plugged that I think we should talk about it.
Oh, man. On the horizon. What isn't on the horizon? So let's go with what's coming up soonest. About a week from tomorrow, we're starting the much anticipated Retrothon on RGL TV. Been talking about this for months now. It's essentially going to be a week-long speedrun marathon that is entirely retro games only. Our definition of retro being pre-2000. So I think it's anything Dreamcast and before. Schedule's available online. If you just even Google Retrothon, you can find it.
Yeah, it's not hard to find.
I can even go ahead and pop it in the chat.
Throw it right in there.
Okay.
Just serve it right on up.
There's that schedule. I've got more than my fair share of runs in there myself.
Yes, you've got quite a few runs.
Got a lot to do. Got as of now currently 7 games, 2 of which are going to be races.
Jeez. And how many of those do you hold the world record in?
Out of those 7,
Yes.
Control F. Hang on. I have it in 6 of the 7.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Christ.
The
What?
one that the one exception being the most impossible of all of them, and that being Double Dragon for the NES.
That's Good luck on that. See, this is
Thank
like
you.
a year ago. We had Angry Lanks on, and he was gunning for, and eventually got the Contra world record. So
Yeah,
now,
I got it in July of last year. I
yeah.
remember that.
So now we've got LRock, and it's just like, fuck that other guy, because I mean, LRock's got like 800,000 world records. That.
Yeah, but
Aren't you being a bit greedy, taking them all?
I'm going to issue a lot of credit to Lanks for that. The Contra World Record is incredibly difficult.
Oh,
It was
absolutely.
so difficult for him to obtain that. It took him. I think it took him until 8,000 attempts plus. Finally got. And I don't have that many attempts on any of my games. I don't even think I have that many on my games combined.
Jeez.
Double Dragon alone, I've got 1,000, I think, and we're still plugging and chugging.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go for that. It's gonna be a challenge, but
Is Double Dragon is Double Dragon really competitive because it's a more well-known game?
that's a good question. It picks up steam here and there. Within the past 6 months or so, I'd say it's definitely picked up quite a few runners. But when I started running, most of the top level runners already had well-established runs that they never really improved upon. I'm not going to name games, but name names. Sorry, names and games, because games are names. If you check speedrun.com, you can see a fairly good laundry list of high-level NES speedrunners that kind of just established a time and I guess just stopped. And it's one of those runs that I guess some people just don't feel is worth pursuing. And honestly, in some ways, I can't necessarily disagree with them. The run is brutal.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's not only incredibly execution heavy, but it also has a ton of RNG that is just waiting to make you feel like you should regret even picking up a controller. So it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work. And I still don't know where I'm going to be, what angles I need to be coming from in order to be able to improve my own time.
Like, even watching the world record, you don't really kind of know what you can do to...
Oh, I know what I can do. That's not the problem. I know what I can, from a knowledge perspective, I know what I can do. From experience and a gameplay perspective, I'm like, it's grinding just like anything else. Yeah, I know where... You're asking about my time saves? Yeah, I absolutely know where my time saves need to come in. But it's going to be a challenge regardless. But I'm doing a lot of work with that game coming up soon, so I have no reason not to pursue it. I've also compared this to the aforementioned Angry Lanks with his record in Contra, and that he was chasing a record held by someone who kind of just ducked out of the hobby, I guess. And it's not that like I'm talking bad about them or calling them out or anything. It's just real life push in new directions sometimes, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. Hyde is legendarily the best Double Dragon player, and beating his time is going to be a huge challenge. But he hasn't been running in a long time. Like, he set this record 7 years ago.
Jesus,
that's an eternity for speedruns. It seems.
Yeah,
like.
it is. And his most recent run of anything was 3 years ago. He's currently holding his last verified speed run was at 11:27 in Contra low percent that happened back in 2015. So he's been done for quite some time.
Yeah, like you said, it's kind of unfortunate when life pulls some of our better players away, but I mean, I guess that's just kind of like the circle of life.
I like to look at it as that if those players left the legacy that they wanted to, then it was worth it. I mean, if they move on, they move on. But
absolutely.
If they appreciate the legacy they left behind, more power to them. And players like Hyde and DK, I mean, they're some of the best ever. So,
absolutely. And I've got to run in Retrothon. Turns out,
does.
Yeah, I will be.
You're doing it?
I will bring my hot garbage bad dudes play to Retrothon. Everybody
bringing the dudes.
Bad dudes.
I'm bringing the dudes. And I'm bringing LRock with me. He's going to be on CoCom, and we're just going to kind of just bullshit the whole time. Because, I mean, like, what is there to really say about Bad Dudes? It kind of speaks for itself. When you watch that game in action, you kind of get that, oh, this isn't fun to play at all.
I mean, I'm already coming up with my list. Like, I'm just going to come up with a list of, like, so what are hitboxes? Just questions that I'm going to be
non-existent.
And Bad Dudes, yeah, that's very true. They're questionable, to say the least.
What is vertical scrolling?
What is vertical scrolling? Yeah, I lost an incredible run yesterday because hitboxes decided they didn't want to be a thing anymore, and the run was just over in a split second from an enemy that literally doesn't attack me. Good fucking times, let me tell you. But yeah, Retrothon is going to be the shit. Like, if you love retro games and retro speedrunning, RGL TV is going to be where you're going to want to be at. Starting
all week, 24/7.
Yeah, all week, 24/7. No breaks.
Well worth a look. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah,
I just cannot wait to see what everyone brings to the table. Like, I've been with RGL for a year now, and every event we've done, to my recollection, outside of like tournaments where we consult out, outside players to be able to participate, all of our big events that are just like, a long marathon, always seem to be just teammates. And I love my team. I do. I love and respect every single member of my team. RGL is absolutely amazing. But incorporating the rest of the community just, to me, makes it that much more special. Like, there's a lot of games in these lists that nobody in our group has ever really considered running. Like, right now, I'm looking at Earthworm Jim 2. Nobody on RGL runs Earthworm Jim 2. We got a runner for it. Looking at Barbie for the NES. There's another example. Nobody here really runs
There's
that
a
either.
barn burner right there.
Aforementioned Bad Dudes. I don't think anyone on RGL runs Bad Dudes.
Yeah.
We're probably going to start pushing for that Mega Man X world record soon.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
That's
I'll have it for you tomorrow on your desk.
we were gonna tackle kind of like the origins of because there are three of us here that have done speedrunning before. Like, I pretend that I'm a speedrunner. LRock is a beast, and John is dabbled, and John did what I like to call throwing oneself into the deep end by learning Mega Man X as his first game. Like, okay, that's...
I mean, it's only one of the top 5 most optimized speedruns in the SNES. So.
If you're gonna run a game, run your favorite game.
Yeah.
That was going to be the next thing I was going to
So
say.
that
If
now
you
you
run a
hate
game,
it.
research the game you like, and the large majority of people love Mega Man X. I can't fault anybody for running that.
Yeah.
I played. There's one SMPS Olympics thing where I tried to do a special challenge on like the Sigma Fortress 1, so I played it for like 16 hours in a week.
Okay.
So I figure if I could already grind the game that much, not in a speedrunning context, then doing the speedrunning probably would work out it's worked out pretty okay.
That is wild. That is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Poncho Smith in the chat points out that I did do that Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle run.
Actually, yeah, you did, didn't you? So, hey, everybody
like
here is a
15 minutes.
speedrunner.
I
Everybody
should
here.
submit that.
You should
I wonder
submit
if
it.
that board is popping.
Oh, that's the one for the Genesis. Okay. I can't remember if that was the Genesis title or the Master System title.
It's real bad. It's the bad Genesis one.
Oh, yeah.
The only I wouldn't have known. The only Alex Kidd game I played was the arcade version, and it was really difficult. It was very.
They're not good. They're not very good. It's one of those games that just feel awful to play.
It kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But you run Bad Dude, so what do you know?
Got a point.
So Ponertron says Polly also did speedruns of Phantasy Star 3. Is there truth to this?
Yes, there is truth to this, but
right.
It's because there's a glitch at the start of the game where you can literally lock yourself out of progress by having a certain item and using it by just buying it from the shop, and you get thrown into a jail and you can use an item to escape that jail, but the game story requires you to be in that jail, so when you go and talk to anybody afterward, the game's like, yo, you cheated to get here and we're not letting you go any further. It literally locks you out of progress. So that's kind of like that's some kind of form of any percent, right?
Yeah.
I did play any bit of the game.
Check out my Far Cry 4 ending where I stand still for 15 minutes.
Oh God, yeah, there's that too.
I speedran The Witness.
Shut up.
But yeah, Retrothon is going to be the shit. I understand, like, this has kind of been something Toad has been wanting to put together for a really long time.
Yeah, it definitely comes off as his baby. He much like myself has a large majority of runs in this event. And he even has the closer, which I'm looking forward to. He learned Final Fantasy, the speed run not long ago, the very first one for the NES, and he loves the game, and it's going to be the closer for the event, which I actually think is neat. I don't think I've ever seen, to call back a different organization, I haven't seen a GDQ that ever ended with an NES game, I don't think.
Nope.
Maybe some of the older ones did, but ever since RPGs kind of took over the finale, it's generally been 16-bit or later. Like we've seen, within the past few years, we've seen Mario RPG and Earthbound both close the event.
Yeah.
Up to recently, with more modern games, which you're definitely not going to see, like Undertale and Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
You're not going to see it at all.
Breath of the Wild speedruns seem fun.
As long as you're not doing 100%.
Oh God.
No. God help you.
Didn't somebody attempt that and actually just go to sleep in the middle of it and kept the timer running?
It wouldn't surprise me, but I have no clue about how that works out. That's not for me.
Yeah, that's just like, hey, I like my games under 30 minutes, please.
Yep, here we go. World record for 100% original as in not extended with no amiibo is 32 hours plus.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I don't even think that's the longest run that exists out there.
No.
Probably not.
There's like,
It's
is it
still-
Batum Kaios? I think it has like a week or something.
Yeah.
Still over a day. I don't want to be in my computer for a day. Like, I consider a 24-hour marathon to be a very special thing, and I've done one.
Yeah.
I couldn't see grinding a run that went that plus 1/3 of the time over.
God, no. Hell no.
I'm good.
It's like
I'm good.
I can barely stream for over 4 hours and not feel like I want to just punch myself. So the thought of anything over that is just so staggering and terrifying to me. So, what else you got coming up?
Me?
Yeah, I bet
Well,
you got
back
one of
to
your
the-
own babies coming up, don't you?
Back to the team. The following month, we are going to have a day-long. I don't really know if you call this a tournament because it's not really a tournament because it's not process of elimination. It's not like two players play to advance. It's just more of a. We refer to them as decathlons, but to me, it's just like a series of games that you race. But coming up, we've got the MAME-cathlon on May 26th. MAME being the utilized name because 2 reasons. One, it's happening in May. So that worked out perfectly. And 2, it's going to be all arcade games, MAME being the most well-known arcade emulator. Because, if someone wants to go out there and find all of these boards and they run on original hardware and set up for the capture, go nuts.
Yeah.
Have a blast.
You're going to lose a lot of time connecting between different setups. But for the easiest point, we're just going to stick to emulators here, I think. I think we're going to be okay with that. The full list, which I have right in front of me, starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that day, goes in order. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the arcade. All these are the arcade titles. Like, they're not home titles. Not playing the NES version of that, for example. Sunset Riders, NBA Jam, Splatterhouse, Metal Slug, Mortal Kombat 2, Dungeon Magic, Salamander, also known as Life Force, G.I. Joe, and Ghouls and Ghosts. In that order, all to completion.
But before you got to the end of the list, I was like, what do you think the most challenging one's going to be? Oh, okay.
Oddly enough, I don't think Ghouls and Ghosts is going to be the most challenging.
You really don't?
No, it's definitely a top 3, but I without investigating further, I think the one that's going to give me the most problems going into it is probably going to be Salamander. You only have a maximum amount of credit feeding you can do in that game. You can only credit feed up to 26 lives, and if you lose all your lives, it's right back to level 1. So you have to learn to beat that game on 26 lives, and it's a really hard Konami shmup.
Yeah.
You're probably going to die a lot.
Konami shmups take no prisoners, and the rank systems in those games are absolutely brutal.
I did not know there was an arcade version of Splatterhouse. I thought that was a home original.
Oh yeah, I remember because the difference
Arcade
between
first.
the arcade version's way gorier.
Really?
Yep.
I don't even think it's necessarily gory. It's graphic. gory though, and I mean, compared to what we got later with games like Mortal Kombat, like it's not even.
Yeah, it was bloody. There's like I remember the difference in the first boss room where there's a bunch of guts in the background, and I was like, oh, this is better. I only played. I had the TurboGrafx version on the Wii U Virtual Console.
Yeah, that is absolutely the best home port is the PCE or TurboGrafx 16 version.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but, Wii Virtual Console, not Wii U.
Right.
Right made it sound like I was such a tiny baby, and I was like, "What was Wii?" And Wii, it was ages ago. Wii's retro, right?
I had the TurboGrafx version on the TurboGrafx.
Well, look at you being all fancy.
Very old.
I had a system that was owned by one in every 200,000 people.
That sounds generous.
No, that's awesome though.
This motherfucker had a 3DO and Atari Jaguar too.
Oh my god. I played 3DO on a podcast last year, and I'd never touched one before. The first game I played was Jurassic Park 3DO. Oh my god!
Oh god!
There are good games for that system. I doubt that's one of them because it's probably some SMP thing. I don't think there were like no good Jurassic Park games though. So
the Genesis one's arguable. It has a lot of problems, but like it feels like a video game. This did not feel like a video game.
And Game Gear one, and none of them were good.
And there's the Sega CD FMV one too. That's bad because it says right there FMV.
Is Ghouls and Ghosts and on Genesis particularly different from Ghouls and Ghosts Arcade?
They're they're completely identical.
Okay, because I love Ghosts on Genesis. I think that's my favorite Ghouls and Ghosts game.
The only real different version, I think, is the one for a console that a lot of people are probably familiar with called the Super Graphics.
Mm-hmm.
It's it was like another TurboGrafx, but it got like no publicity, no.
Isn't that just the?
It only had 5 games
with the TurboGrafx CD built in or something.
No,
I think that's the Turbo Duo.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
that is the
Super
Duo.
Graphics was like a second system that immediately went out of print.
I wonder if that's the same as the PC-FX, because that's the one that came after the PC Engine in Japan.
It was referred to as the PC Engine SG for Super Graphics.
Weird. So something in between those two. You're right. I have never heard of that.
This came out in Japan and also in France, but nowhere else.
Oh, wow.
Japan got it right at the turn of the decade. They got it in December of 1989, and it was supposed to be an upgrade of the PCE, but it only ended up getting 5 games. I think there weren't many games at all. One of which was Ghouls and Ghosts.
Right.
What else did it get? Not much. There it is. Damakamura, I think is the name of it, the Japanese name for it. It also got like Darius.
Oh, it's Daikatana. That's how it's pronounced.
Right. Got 1941, which is a shmup I'm not a fan of. It is so slow. All Dimes, which I'm not familiar with, and then Darius Plus, which a lot of people are familiar with. Darius is quite good.
Yeah.
Very hard, but it's a good shmup.
Yeah.
How does the system flop so bad that there's only 6 games for it, though? That's incredible.
Yeah, that's fewer than the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, like
it's hard to say. I've actually I didn't play on one for the first time until earlier this year. And the local expo had Ghouls and Ghosts set up for it, and I was like, well, that's a controller, so I guess I can play it. So there's that.
That's wild.
And I mean, of course, it's Ghouls and Ghosts, so I was terrible at it, but I just messed around with it just to see what the fuss was. It's an interesting console, but yeah, like the legacy is like the opposite of overstated. Like some people you bring up Super Graphics and they're like, what? Is that the TurboGrafx? Like, not exactly. Like kind of like the conversation we're having now. So.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's just a lot of wires crossed here, and it's just like the naming.
It seems like it's kind of like the 32X, I guess, where it's just like
a
leveled up, except it's built into a whole new system. I don't know. Weird.
32X. 32X.
I look at it as being like an extension. I think the 32X is a good comparison. I think, but even the 32X here was marketed well. I don't think the Super Graphics was marketed all that well in Japan. I don't even see a sales figure, so I can't.
32X had Calibri, so
it also had an exclusive Spider-Man game.
Yay. Huh? It did. I never played that.
It's called Web of Fire. It's also insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Because it's only on the 32X.
Yeah. I have a 32X and one game, Knuckles Chaotix.
Oh,
it's like the most notable game in the 32X.
I've got Mortal Kombat 2 for it.
Which I understand is just a slightly upgraded Genesis version?
Yeah, that's all it is. It kind of puts the frames of animation that they cut back in expands the color palette a bit and adds in the voice samples that were taken out of the Genesis version, but it's still got the musical fidelity of the Genesis version,
which is bleh.
I like the music. I just think that it's not as good as the other stuff, like the arcade or the SNES version, obviously.
It's extremely damp. I've never been a fan. Like, grainy is fine, but that was just kind of like, this might as well just not even be here. That's how I felt about it.
I mean, if they wanted the music, why wasn't it on Sega CD?
That's a good point. Good point. You can't argue that.
They did that later with the Saturn, and even that was still a mistake. MK2 on the Saturn is...
Oh, God. That's a trash fire.
Really?
Yeah, it's a trash fire.
It's really weird. You'd think it'd be great because, older game on a new 32-bit console 4 years later or whatever, and it was odd. It was really, really strange.
Yeah, not good.
Lots of stuff about it didn't make sense. I've watched speedruns of it. It's weird. It's really weird.
Oh, there's a game for John. Speedrun Mortal Kombat, like Game Boy or something.
Those are actually interesting. I've watched those as well.
And of course, I've been thinking about Colibri for the last 2 minutes. Like, it's
okay.
I can't believe the Echo guy made a Hummingbird game. A Hummingbird shmup. I love that.
Yeah, like John kind of does that. John will kind of just space out at random when one thing comes up, and we'll have to get back to him because
it's so pretty.
They've completely missed the last 3 minutes of conversation.
I haven't played it past the first 6 or 7 so levels, so I don't know if it gets garbage hard. But
so when is Mamecathlon again?
May 26th.
May 26th, and that's just a one-day event.
Mm-hmm.
That's
just like we've done with all of our other big race events in the past. We had the Atari 26 in March. We had Dizcathlon in January.
Yeah.
And I know we had some near the end of last year. We had the Tiny Tin Remix also in March. And there was one right before that we did. But, God, I can't remember it. It happened in, the late fall, early winter.
Mm.
I won't remember it. But Dizcathlon was the first one that I, actively tried to become a part of.
Yeah. I remember you doing a lot of practice for that. It was good times.
I did, but unfortunately, when things wore down to the nub, I ended up not being able to participate. Real life kind of took over too hard.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
I was about 7 games into the 10 that I felt like maybe I could run this, and then there were 3 left, 2 of which I hadn't played, and one of which just made me even all the more angrier every time I wanted to play it, or not even wanted to play, but every time I tried to play it. And I thought to myself, if I'm not having fun with the game, why am I running it?
Exactly.
I don't have anything to prove to myself.
Yeah, because even if speedrunning is fun, if you're not enjoying the game, you should probably stop.
That's my whole philosophy. Don't do it if it's not fun.
Yeah, I give bad dudes a lot of shit, but do you think I would be playing it if there was some weird part of me that didn't enjoy it,
Yeah,
it's a relaxing,
jank endearing.
It's a janky ass, weirdly relaxing fun that's easy to just churn out. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get that world record. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Have fun. I'll watch.
Who the fuck am I kidding?
How far off are you?
63 seconds.
Oh, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
You're talking about
my sum of best is 15:11, and the world record is 14:37. So I still got a way to go.
Much like the aforementioned Hyde and DK, Murph is a legendary grinder, but he still speedruns, being the difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's those are if you go back and watch any GDQs, these are all going to be names that you would recognize if you kind of came into speedrunning from the GDQ era, really, because these were names that you saw there quite a bit. But GDQ, huh? Now that's a weird transition, huh?
It is?
I understand you might be something GDQ related in your future.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, well.
So SGDQ coming up this summer on, I think it starts the 24th of June. Schedule hasn't gone live yet, but yes, yours truly submitted the full cap of runs, and out of everything I submitted, I managed to get 2 games in. So very excited and nervous about that. It'll be my second GDQ where I get to perform on the big stage, and this time I have much more difficult games to deal with. So this is going to be the test of tests.
So what games are you running at SGDQ?
One being the aforementioned Double Dragon.
Mm.
That's the one making me nervous.
Whew, yeah, that one can be straight up game over.
I've only done that in front of a live audience once, and that was for RG Love, one of our last marathons.
Yeah.
I actually, because that wasn't a speedrun marathon, I did all safe strats, and it wasn't even hard. Like doing safe strats in that game, like you can still beat it, but doing actual speed strats, slightly different story.
Yeah.
you tend to have to put your head on a pedestal, or that's not even the right expression. Put your head on a pike to get somewhere sometimes in that game.
Yeah, that game's so mean. Like, I've seen a lot of heartbreaking runs just from your stream. So
the thing that really sucks about it is you can't really make it marathon safe to a large degree because there's no like extra lives or extra health to get or anything like that.
Yeah.
So head on a swivel, yeah, that'll work too.
Yeah.
Either way, put my ass on the line. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a video game. But yeah, you have no way of increasing your resources. You just gotta do it. Hope for the best. You can bet I'm gonna be doing a lot of practice on that leading up to the run itself, especially at the event.
Yeah, definitely one. But it's also you kind of don't want to over practice too because you could psych yourself out pretty bad.
Right.
Yeah, but I get that.
Yeah. And what's the other game you got?
The other one is the game that got me into speedrunning, or at least got me into the level of speedrunning that I'm at. It's a little SNES game based on a movie some people might have heard of called Batman Returns, the second Tim Burton movie, for those that get that confused with other Batman games that are not as fun.
Yeah. We'll leave those to PJ. We'll let him play the bad Batman games.
The very first time I told a fellow streamer I run that game, said person made fun of me. It's like, that game's so terrible. Of course, person got confused with Batman Forever, and I'm like, no, it's not that game. But the person still continues to give me crap for it. It's like, run your bad Batman game. I'm like, I hate you.
Oh my
God. This game's actually good. Like, it's actually a sweet, legitimate Konami beat 'em up. You run around as the biggest Batman sprite ever created, and you punch clowns, and it's great. And there's actually legitimate speed tech to it. You can have an infinite in the game that you can use to just mow down enemies, and beat 'em ups are all about scrolling the screen. You take care of a wave of enemies, then you move on, and you take care of another wave of enemies, then you move on. These strats that I'm referring to allow you to do that very, very quickly. And if that's not a speed strat, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the base definition of speed strat.
That infinite you can also do on bosses, and that's where the execution really gets heavy because it's very, very hard.
Oh yeah, like
it took me months to even get it down on all the bosses, at least 2 to 3 before I could get it like consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, I'm like, if I stop playing it for like even a couple of days, it's like I gotta go gear up again. And
it's a good crunchy beat 'em up though. Like it just kind of looks, sounds, and feels good. Just generally, a good ass Konami fucking beat 'em up.
The sound design in that game is just unbelievable. Like everything that connects, if it hits, if you throw somebody into something, like it's just the most satisfying sound effects you'll ever hear on anything.
Yeah, it's super
punch. Good. Every punch sounds like you just broke some clown's teeth. It's great. There's so much impact to it. You can throw clowns on the walls. You can break windows. My favorite still at this day is throwing them into a park bench. It just shatters the park bench. Like it leaves like a big hole in the backside of it. It's awesome.
So this is like the perfect game if you don't like juggalos.
What system is this on again?
Super NES.
Really? That's with good sound effects. That's unusual.
Yeah, I know the meme is obviously a joke. Of course, it's great, but at the same time, with games like this, it's weird. And plus, it's one of those cases where, to me, everything was just a perfect storm. You have a known license based on a known movie that was going to sell regardless. Mm-hmm. You have it from a really good developer. Konami, despite their current practices, has a legacy that's almost untouched by third party.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe Capcom across systems. Like I consult Sunsoft all the time, but past NES, Sunsoft was kind of not that great. Right into 16 and 32-bit, Konami, Capcom were like the top two, and the Konami team was really pushing it with this game. Like they somehow got a soundtrack to sound exactly like a Danny Elfman score, and I don't know how they did that with a 16-bit MIDI.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
The game is 3 megabytes. 3 megabytes.
That's it's just a testament to the work that went into making these things. You know,
when they gave a shit.
Yeah, like when people gave a shit. But yeah, like that game is super solid. I mean, Konami's done like they also did the Adventures of Batman and Robin on SNES, which is very good.
I thought you just said Konami's done.
They are.
They pretty much are. I mean, their former CEO, unfortunately, I forgot his name, passed away earlier in the decade.
Yeah.
And then his son took over, and beyond that, it was just he decided to go in a different direction. I mean, they still retain all their video game licenses, but it seems like all they're really committing themselves to Chinko machines.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, because they still have a lot of good licenses. You know, Castlevania, Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill. Like they have a ton of great licenses that
they did a Contra tease.
Oh yeah.
Like in 2008, they did this Contra tease at the end of their 2008 E3 press conference, and nothing was ever said about it again.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, they just did like the flaming sea at the end of their conference, and it was just like, oh, something's coming. Nothing.
Yeah.
We did get Hardcore Uprising though, so
that's true.
How did that ever happen? It is a weird anomaly.
Yeah, Arc System Works made it. That's how.
Yeah, but it's even at that point, it was kind of weird that Konami was like, "Hey, let's get somebody to make a new Contra game, huh?"
Contra 2D on the PS4 or something like on Steam would have been absurd. Like,
yes,
there would definitely have been people that would have played that.
Well, it's
maybe not released as a full title unless you're going to put it in 3D, which would be a huge fucking mistake.
Yeah,
but 2D side-scrolling Contra, like just with updated graphics, dude. Like a lot of people would play that. Hell, people played Double Dragon 4. I like Double Dragon 4. I know I'm alone on that. The story playthrough was daunting in the sense that I don't think it was very fun, but unlocking tower mode made things a lot more fun.
Yeah, that's kind of where I think most people got their fun in that game.
Tower mode was tight. It was super fun. You just had an endless wave of enemies and you just mowed them down best you could.
If you
mentioned
destroy them all.
You were saying,
you mentioned a new Contra or something made with 2D graphics, but then I remember those mobile ports that got leaked.
Oh,
there was a Contra one and a Life Force one, and they were both real unappealing.
God, they are so bad.
I definitely don't remember those, but they still at least released some good games. Contra 4 was good.
Oh, Contra 4
the DS.
Contra 4 was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Well, still, even in the 2000s, it would amaze me that they were willing to still commit to 2D when they had the possibility of doing 3D. Another example was the PS2 game Shattered Soldier. That game is very good as a classic Contra game.
Oh, yeah.
And even though it has 3D looking sprites, it's still a 2D game. So they kept true to form.
Yep.
No, it was super heavy. The game is hard as balls, but
ooh, yeah,
it's a Contra game.
That's what you come to Contra for. I mean, really. I mean, people that are playing Contra
and what
games.
You come to Contra 4 for.
Yeah.
Go up and get your ass whooped.
I come to Contra 4.
I actually forgot about Contra Rebirth.
It's all right. But
Contra Rebirth. Hey, remember Hardcore?
Yeah.
We used the soundtrack.
The game's fucked up. Contra Hardcore is so fucked up. It's a cool game, though.
It does some crazy shit with the Mega Drive Genesis hardware that's still pretty damn impressive today.
Shoutouts in chat to Metamorphic Force. I love that game.
Oh, God, Metamorphic Force. That game is something.
That game is great. It was like their answer to Altered Beast, but it ended up being significantly better than that.
Yeah, it's just so chaotic.
Yeah, it's fun, though. I put it for not a raffle, but a subscriber game choice last year for the first time. It's a game I should have played long before that, because I already love Konami beat 'em ups anyway. And I'm like, hey, this is on the X-Men engine. And then I played through it, and I was like, why is this better than a game I've been playing for 25 years? I've been playing X-Men 25 years of my life, the X-Men arcade version, and I've played that game to death. And I'm like, this is the same engine, but it's better. You can do so much more with this game. It's just nobody played it because it didn't have a third-party license or whatever. You know? Game is crazy good.
So, Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I wanted to join him. Sorry.
Oh. Now you're pushing it, John. There's always that one person that takes it a step too far.
Oh yeah,
that's John.
That's
the one
John.
who always takes it too far.
I am the one who steps.
God. So you mentioned that Batman Returns is kind of the game that got you speed running at the level you do now, more or less. Is that like your first speed run? Like, where did it start for Will Babby LRock?
Technically not my first. So here's how it all got started. It was summer 2016, like July or so. I attended, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the event. I attended EVO for the first time that summer. Are you guys familiar with EVO?
Yeah.
Biggest
fighting game tournament ever.
Well, yeah, it's the original, from Battle by the Bay up to what it is known now. And I had never been, and I knew it was going to need. At that point, I had been competitively playing fighting games for like 3 years, but I never mustered up the capability of being able to go to the event, whether it be money, whether it be time, you name it. Like, I just never had the means to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided now was the time. Because I had a lot of friends going, and that was an easy in, and I just couldn't think of a reason to not go. Plus, I'd never been to Vegas, so I wanted to see what that would be like, even though I wasn't going to have, like, the truest of Vegas experiences.
Mm. You're going to have the nerdiest of... You'll have the nerdiest.
Yeah. It's not known for being the nerdiest city ever.
No.
So, here's why that's important. Leading up to the event, there was a local podcast, much like... Well, I would just say much like I'm doing now, but this isn't local. I'll go ahead and refrain from mentioning the name because I'm gonna. There are some things I go over in regards to them that might make them look kind of bad, but we ended up forging a good relationship. So here's what happened: they announced that they were reviving this series, where they have people just come on their show and they stream it, much like we're doing now through Twitch, and they have people who sign up to play games and see if they can beat them. A lot of them are supposed to be like really hard games. They also excluded anything NES only because on their previous iteration, the previous season, whatever you want to call it, they just did everything NES.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, so you don't want to do reruns, fine. I'll find something else to do. But it kind of struck a chord with me because I was like, I guess I could find something to do because I've certainly always been interested in speedrunning. I've been watching GDQs at that point for upwards of 2.5 years, almost 3 years. So I certainly always took an interest in it. I just never jumped at the chance to do anything with it. Because I really didn't. I mean, I had original consoles at the time, but I didn't have anything like what I have now, like flash cards for every console that I own and a stream setup and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I figured this is about an hour and a half away. I had to show up on site. It's an arcade that's about. I mean, it's in a major city, different state, but it was just wrangled up some friends. I'm like, look, I want to do this. So let me see a list of games, and I picked out 2 that I knew I could beat with some practice. Once I got back from EVO, that's when that started. And how that segues is from EVO to that ended up kind of being my swan song out of the fighting game community. I still play fighting games, but I'm not as deeply involved in them as I used to be because, quite frankly, even though I was serviceable, I never really thought of myself as good. Like, you see Paulie, for example, see me do speed runs. I can adapt myself to a game. Adapting yourself to other players is a completely different thing. Like, planets away.
Yeah, like he will adapt AI loops all day, but yeah,
I understand programming. Understanding the human mind is completely different, or the human element, human emotion, human reaction, whatever. So I never considered myself to be that great, and while I didn't feel like I was wasting time, I felt like it was going to be one of those cases where it was going to take a lot more work than I was willing to put in to get better. And it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to get better. It was just a case of, like, what's the balance?
That's just the case with me and just kind of most skills in life, or really all skills. So I guess where you're coming from.
It's just what it is. I mean, you can do what you love, but I think the real joy in life is finding your passion. And I thought that was going to be one of them. And while I do enjoy them, I just don't think it was my passion. Mm-hmm. So leading into the show, I picked out 2 games. One of which ended up being pretty cool. It was the first showcase they wanted to do was a Disney side-by-side showcase for the game. The game in question was Aladdin, So they had someone else there. Unfortunately, I forgot her name. Running Aladdin for the SNES, which half the people I talked to consider to be the better version, and I wanted to play Aladdin Genesis, which the other half of the people I talked to very divided on those games. You see,
Yeah.
I mean, you're on the correct though. It's the Genesis version.
Oh.
I did not intend to start a conversation with them. I merely was there to make the joke. Yeah, I mean, we can get it.
I mean, the SNES Aladdin was one of the first games I ever finished. You know, it's cool. Whatever.
It's a good game. I actually think that there's a chance it might be the better game, but it's not the one I prefer playing, whatever that's worth. I just understood the Genesis one on a deeper level, I guess, growing up, even though I never beat it. But I grew up and suddenly I'm like, the resources are available. I can beat this game. And I think I managed some sub-20 runs in my practice. And I figured I can bring this to the dance. This is fine. I ended up actually winning the race, even though, well, like I said, they're both about, they're not quite the same speed, but they both can be played quickly. So I ended up finishing. That was cool. Even though the weird thing about that was they only had two headsets, and one was for her, and the other one was for the person running the stream. And over time, I realized, man, they made a mistake not letting me be on the headset because I know I can talk, like I'm doing right now.
Yeah, you have a voice.
Nothing against her, but it was just a matter of inconvenience. I'm like, I guess I got to prove myself by beating the shit out of this game, so I guess I'll go do that. Something else I forgot. So before I get into game 2, this is important. There was a game that I chose that some people remember me grinding out quite a bit last year, and that led to a run of the same game at SGDQ at 2017. That was X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the SNES. Now, said game was a part of the list. I requested it. The person who organized the stream told me no. And I was like, okay, well, why is it on the list? It's like, well, we had someone else from out of town claim it. And I'm like, okay, so that's cool. So I talked with the person who owns the arcade, who's a good friend of mine, and I told him, I was like, well, that's unfortunate, but I can do this instead. He's like, no, you want to do that? I'll get you to do that. And I was like, are you sure? And it's cool. I can just go with something different. He was like, no, I got you. I got you. You're good. I'll get you in on that. And I was like, all right. So I got signed up for that per him. And then it kind of just became a case of like mom said, dad said, and I was caught in the middle. Like it wasn't a case of like me trying to push this. Like I'm like, guys, I'll do it.
Like you were totally cool the whole time. Just like, look, it's not a big deal.
Exactly. And they just kind of, it wasn't really a struggle war, but I think that this person, the owner, probably saw something in me. Like I'd been to fighting game events at his venue plenty of times in the past, so I guess he just thought, this seems like something he really wants to do, so I'm going to make sure he gets his foot in the door. And I owe a lot of credit to what I do to that person. So I can't say enough positive things about this person. So I'll give him a shout out here. Jesse, you're an amazing human being, and I owe you so much. you were fucking awesome. That's all I can say. Back to the story. So I get there on game day. Before I even go live for this little Disney showcase, they had me advertised as playing X-Men for Genesis. And I was like, nuh-uh.
No,
I'm not playing that.
No,
I don't want to play that game. That game's not good.
That game's bad.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to play that game. I would never sign up to play that game. So I talked it over with the guy who runs the stream, and there was a lot of back and forth between us. Is like, well, I told you that we didn't have this. It's like, well, yeah, but then it was coordinated with this person. You know how that goes. Yeah. Eventually, he conceded, and he allowed me to play it. And I was like, oh, God, why does it have to be like this? This is already, like, not a good first impression that I'm making. So I guess I really don't know what to say about it in hindsight, but I remember I felt like this was a mistake that I made, that I asked him who the person was, because I just kind of wanted to know who it was, if I'd recognize it from like a leaderboard or whatever. I'm an information person, I guess. And all they said was the world-class speedrunner. I was like, okay. And I think that was another one of those sparks that I kind of needed. I was like, I guess I just have to go be a world-class speedrunner now.
I got to go turn my good on.
And then within a year, I had the game at SGDQ, so I was just like, I win.
I think, yeah. Jeez,
So I got to do the game. It was a very early preliminary run that's very likely still on YouTube somewhere, and it's really, really bad. Now it would be considered bad. And I was also using a lot of buzzwords that I shouldn't have been doing because I was new to it. And yeah, I think I said RNG something like 18 times. Like, it was really bad. It was so terrible. But it still meant a lot to me that they did that. And then I came back the next month, and then the next month, and then the next month. Basically, at that point, anything I was submitting, if they had it available, they were going to take me. I remember the third month in question, I submitted Bart's Nightmare, and they were like, "Oh no,
no!
I was like, "Oh really?" I got this. I got like a 21 something, which at the time was a great time. My record at the time was like a 19. So I was like, "Y'all can suck it." I'm Tasted everybody.
Bart's Nightmare, the game that I tried to meme the fuck out of, and then everybody was like, "Oh no, we know this game. Here, let us tell you about it." I was like, "Oh, that's good."
I recognized the game, and I was just like, "Oh, I'll play along." Everyone else is like, "I'll ruin the joke."
Yeah.
I wish they had done it to me because I'd have been like, "I don't know shit."
Yeah.
I got stuff to tell you. You can tell me this. I'm like, for everything you tell me, I'm going to say I already know that and tell you 3 more things you don't know.
What are the
Come at me.
Challenge him.
That's another game for another day. So you asked me about Batman Returns. That's what started me to want to speedrun, was getting to do those. But I looked at both those runs and I thought, I mean, those were fun, but I kind of want to. I think the approach that I took initially wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to work, something where I wanted to play a game that everybody else was playing. Because, a lot of people are going to have the same favorite games, whether it be Castlevania, Mega Man 2, Super Mario Bros. 3. Insert any of those into a bowl, and you're going to find an optimized run.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily want to go for that. I wanted to cement my place on a game that really hadn't been explored. And I knew the kind of games I enjoyed playing. So the aforementioned X-Men MA being one of them. Mm-hmm. Had a lot of fun with that game and proceeded to have a lot more fun even after that. But in the case of Batman Returns, not only had that game not really been explored too much, at the time the record was like a 30-something, 31-something, held by a runner out of Canada. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it and I was like, there's got to be more stuff you can do in this game. And then I remember I was scouring YouTube one night at work, and I found a channel from a user called, I'll give him a shout here. I've not spoken with the person, so I can't claim to have any conversations with him, but his name was a Too Many username with some of the letters left out. You can't really look it up by that. But this guy chronicles retro video games like nothing you'd ever believe. He plays the hell out of some beat-em-ups, and he goes through these tutorials where he explains, okay, here's the mechanics about this game. And he just like dirtles around on screen showing off like, here's the thing that the player is capable of doing in this game. Here's another thing players capable of doing in this game, which means some of them are going to be awful. I think he did one for Death and Return of Superman where it's just like, yeah, this game has nothing.
Yeah.
I have no idea how he spent as much time as he did on that game, but he's like, yeah, this game has nothing. And he's not wrong. I've learned to take my time in exploring games, and even with that one, I was just like, I got squat. But I remember I watched his Batman Returns guide, and he showed off the punch cancel that can lead to an infinite. And I was like, is anybody using that? I didn't watch a single run that does that. Like the record doesn't have it, and it's definitely got to be faster than that, right? And I remember I went to the SDA forum. Legendarily, the only person I think that ever really brought any kind of prominence to the game was a runner most of you know by the name of Mr. K, world record holder in Contra 3, hard difficulty. Amazing Contra player. Still plays. Yeah.
Just incredible.
One of the best of all time. But he also speedruns Batman Returns. Sad thing is, I never get to see him run it. Because like all he really does these days is Contra, and he never really was the kind of guy that recorded his runs or anything like that. Supposedly he had I think he only ran Batman on the hardest difficulty and had runs out there somewhere, and his PB was like a 24x or whatever. But I was like, God, I want to see these. I want to see like what the opportunity is. Like I want strats, Like I can go to this with this learning this execution, but I want like to know what to do. So I remember for a while, I figured, well, I can learn this. That should be easy enough, right? And so I remember for a good while, good 2 months or so. This is before I had a stream set up. I remember when I came home from work, I would just sit down and play it and just continually do offline recordings. And by recordings, I shouldn't even say recordings. I was just timing myself. Like I was using my phone to just be like, okay, here's the time I'm capable of now.
Right.
And all my times doing this were beating the record soundly.
Damn.
I need to get on stream and do this. So I consulted a friend of mine who also is a speedrunner here out of Louisville. His name is Fuzzy Bunny 10. I still recommend everybody follow him. He's an awesome human being. Another awesome person for getting me involved in speedrunning, along with the aforementioned arcade owner. He speedruns Castlevania for the NES. I think his PB is like a 1234.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't run in a while though, and I don't know what his PB is, but he also runs Mega Man for the NES. So he took the opposite approach that I did. He wanted to play the games that everybody was playing.
Yeah.
More power to him. If that's what you want to do, there's nothing that should be stopping you. For me though, I thought, well, I want to run this and I want to run this, and I don't have a way to showcase it. So what do you say to doing some like tandem streams? He was like, I'll open my stream to you. I was like, you're awesome. Let's do this. So for like 3-4 months in a row before I got my stream set up that I'm on talking to you on right now, I just would improve my time on his stream for a while. That's his was a showcase of like, I'm going to beat this record, beat this record. And those were the two games that I was bouncing it back on, those being Batman and Simpsons. And it was just so addicting for so long. I'm like, I know I can do better. I know I can do better. And I still until I feel like I am not gonna do better, I have no reason to stop. That's my philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're okay with doing that, there's nothing wrong with speedrun at all. Keep doing it. No reason not to.
Oh yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
So,
they will.
Just
yeah.
Speedrunning.
And that was pretty much that was just kind of what got me going. I finally got a stream set up, and I found from there I was just able to find more games. I kept my list small because I really didn't have the resources to put myself out there, and now I do, so I can do whatever the heck I want, like an online marathon or a decathlon of games that I'm going to be playing with input lag. Stuff,
Yep.
But really, I remember a friend of mine a very good friend of mine I know since college, messaged me yesterday, and he's fairly regular in my stream. He talks every so often, but he messaged me on social media. It was like, I'm going to paraphrase it, but I'm also going to look it up because I want to put this down. So he pointed out that caught the very end of my stream. This is last night when I was streaming Bart's Nightmare. I'm sure Paulie remembers that because it got all over Twitter. He just pointed out he thought it was so awesome that I got into streaming / speedrunning with as many followers as I have, and I think the following I'll be able to maintain. I'm happy with it. I've gotten 1,300 followers in 16 months of streaming. For a while there, I was pulling 100 followers a month, and I'm still amazed. I'm just like, I don't know where all this is coming from. I wish I did so I could do more of it or appeal more to those kind of people.
What was the magical thing that you did?
Tell Polly she needs followers.
No, I don't. Nobody wants to watch my garbage.
This podcast isn't garbage.
I don't know.
People are watching it right now.
Oh, poor fools.
So anyway, he pointed out, you have something you can be good at and be rightfully confident with it, and he hopes I keep having fun with it. And I was like, great. I didn't take it with a grain of salt. It was just like, awesome. But I remember it made me reflect on, to me, this is my favorite way to enjoy retro games right now, and I hope that continues.
Yeah.
It's like it's like if someone told me they just want to do a playthrough of Mega Man 2, like unless they're gonna do like zips, it's like I'm not gonna view it the same way ever again,
Yeah, yeah.
Like it kind of ruins that a bit, but at the same time, no regrets. Like I'm already down the rabbit hole. I don't want to climb out. I'm having too much fun down here,
Yeah, and I think that's like the best possible message to kind of take from all of it. Really, as we kind of like wrap up this segment, so I can toss off to Rhett or John here in a bit.
And it also sums up like the things that get you so involved in wanting to become what it is.
Yeah.
Teammate of mine constantly points to Sinister One's blindfolded punch out run from I forget which GDQ it was as like just a major like coming out party for speedrunning because like you see that and you want to do it. Not
Yeah.
everybody's going to do that. Others, for me, include the first time I saw Mega Man 2 run with Zips, because that was mind blowing. I played that game my entire life, and just like that, like, how this, and also the first time I saw Mitch Flower Power do the credits war for Super Mario Bros. 3, and I think it was AGDQ 2015, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think so.
I was like, you got to be kidding me! You can manipulate programming like that. You can finish the game in 3 minutes because this game has more holes than Swiss cheese. Really? Tell me more, please. I want to know more.
And it's just a great way to kind of keep the love of retro games alive. Like, the games don't have to be over.
They'll be relevant forever because of it. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what would y'all say to, like, 5-minute break, get up, stretch your legs a little bit, and then we'll come back and hop into...
I'll get another ginger ale.
Yeah, you do that.
I just gotta pee.
I'm gonna
pee all over.
I'm muting everything so you can make all the gross sounds you want. And we will be right back, chat.
Certainly.
I pressed the unmute button so everybody knows we're back.
Gasp.
It would probably
Howdy,
it would probably have behooved me to put a BRB on the screen or something, but
I would agree with that. I was wondering about that too. I was like, is there going to be a way for them to know that we're AFK?
no, it's just how we run this shit show around here. I am the absolute worst.
Just put it up right now and then take it off real quick.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll just make it in OBS right now.
Oh, you don't have anything prepared?
No.
Say goodnight, Polly. Good night, Polly.
Good night, Polly. Okay, so Rhett, I'll throw to you, and then you throw to John, and then we'll
Okay.
wrap. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, with all that out of the way, let's throw it on over to Rhett. What you been up to?
I've been up to some anime
Oh no.
and a whole lot of video games. But first, I wanted to finish the saga. I finished watching Magus Pride finally.
Oh yeah.
Yay.
Did that get?
Anime Twilight.
Did it?
Here we go.
Oh no.
I'm not going to dignify that, but John said something last week that kind of made me think, kind of like Magus Pride, where and you probably don't have this opinion anymore, it was when you were talking about Trails in the Sky, you were like, it's super sweet and good and wholesome and kind of boring.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Magus Pride.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's so close to being perfect, but then it kind of maybe doesn't really go anywhere, and it's just kind of inconsequential almost.
That's fair.
Like, it has really great moments, but they're not really strung together, maybe. Like, it's just kind of stuff happens.
Mhm.
But I really like the show in the end. I just think maybe, like...
It could have used some grander scale or something
like
actually
that.
happening.
Yeah. I mean, they go for, like, an arc at the end, and then maybe that show also seems kind of out of its element when it goes for action. So maybe that doesn't work as well either. I would say for John, though, I would still recommend watching the OVA episodes before the start of the series, or there is a place in episode 13 where it literally does this time skip forward and then has kind of a montage over music, and then you see literally, oh, there's where the OVA episodes fit in.
Gotcha.
But also, like, pausing episode 13 in the middle to watch 3 other episodes would be kind of weird.
I'll probably
'cause
just
then-
watch it, start from the new ones anyway, so I
Yeah.
can have some new episodes.
Cool. Because I think it would be super jarring to watch them at the end of the show, like afterwards.
Okay, gotcha.
Because, like, you don't want characters to regress emotionally. Like, sometimes they get over things, and then to go back to how they previously were would be bad.
Like Bella at the start of Twilight when she doesn't really have a sense of
Jesus
self-worth,
Christ.
and Edward is...
I just hate
Okay.
this. I just hate this whole conversation because Twilight is a fucking part of it.
I hate that
Amen.
part, too.
I'm glad LRock's with me here.
Oh, y'all really going against that internet grain, huh?
Yeah.
What?
Got those those hot Twilight's bad takes.
That was taped for 10 years, or however fucking long it's been.
That's been 10. Twilight was released in theaters in 2008. 10.
And the book was before that.
Yeah.
I read the books before the movie came out. I remember that now.
So I finished watching Magus Bride, and I was like, oh, I think I'm kind of over this anime streak I was on.
Dang, all right.
So, not that show, was bad and it ended it. It was just like, oh, the show, took me like a month to get through because it's just kind of a slow period mood piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted some action. So I was like, I want to play a bunch of video games with action in them right now.
Okay.
The same thing I did after Trails.
Yes, but
The comparison.
you and me have very different takes on this. But I guess the first one is the most similar, where I started playing Nex Machina, which is the newest game from Housemarque, who made Super Stardust HD and Resogun.
Mm-hmm.
So
Were those games good?
I don't really care for Super Stardust, what I've played of it. I think Resogun is pretty good. And just to set this off on the right foot, Nex Machina is fucking awesome. This game fucking rules. It is just nonstop pure adrenaline arcade action.
Like, what kind of game is it?
So it's kind of, I guess Smash TV might be the closest comparison. Like, it's kind of a Gauntlet Smash TV top-down shooter thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Nice.
you spawn into a room, there's a billion enemies, they keep coming in, like, several waves, and then after you kill, like, 3 or 4 waves, you move to a different shaped room with, like, different obstacles and stuff.
Right.
So it just keeps moving, and then, like, that's the thing I kind of didn't like about Super Stardust or Resogun, is that, especially Resogun, was just, each world was, like, one big arena, kind of like Fantasy Zone or Defender.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, okay, I'm in this room for like 5 minutes, where in Next Machina, it's like, it's always moving like every 20, 25 seconds. Like, okay, new arena. Like, and it hammers you with so many enemies and stuff blowing up. It's just constant shit happening. But I also think like it has really good visibility, which is kind of surprising. Like, everything has like light outlines, everything's color coded, like every enemy in the game is red. So it's very obvious, like, oh, there's the enemies. Every bullet is like neon purple. Everything good is like green or blue. So it's like, even though there's a million things happening, oh, and it's all voxel based.
Ooh,
So-
voxels blow up real good.
Everything blows up. Everything blows up. And like, there's special abilities, like there's a couple special weapons that will like change how an enemy blows up. So there's one that's just like a force field around you, and it just causes the enemy to just freeze and then just tumble apart disintegration wise. And then there's a rocket launcher where they'll just fucking be blasted off into the side of the wall and stuff. And the soundtrack
Voxels
is
are
amazing.
awesome. Voxels, for those who don't know, are 3D pixels.
Yeah.
And you can you can like string a whole bunch of them together to make solid objects, and when you blow them up, it's real fucking satisfying.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Resogun, like when you beat the level in that?
Yes.
Like, the whole thing just
Yeah.
explodes. They do a kind of a similar thing in this, too. Where it's just like, okay, you beat the level. Now it just explodes. It's ridiculous. So, this game's kind of paced like a Toho shmup, basically, where it's 6 levels, and then, like, it's very geared towards getting a 1 credit clear.
Cool.
So, first time... Actually, so at the very start, though, it only says there's 5 levels. That kind of tricks you.
Mm.
It's like, you see a level select and, oh, there's 5 locked levels. Okay. So, a couple times playing the game, I get to the stage 5 boss for the first time, and I die. And I'm like, oh, man, I was so close to getting that 1 CC. So I continue, and then I beat him, and then it's like, what do you mean there's a 6th level? Holy shit. Oh, my God. I didn't expect it, because you only get the 6th level if you're playing one difficulty up.
Yeah.
If you're on easy, get it. So play the game again on the normal difficulty, and I 1 CC the whole game, and the achievement pops up, and I'm like, fucking yeah. And I even
Nice.
quickly turn to Twitter and say, yeah, I just got a 1 CC. Turn back to the game, and there's a little bit more. So I won't go into full spoiler territory, but it's similar to how in Imperishable Night, like once you beat the game, Kaguya has the 5 impossible requests.
Oh God, yeah.
Mhm.
So like, this doesn't really count for completion. It's just there to make sure that you know you are nothing.
Oh.
Like, it's just there to kind of humiliate you and be really frustrating and make me want to keep seeing the game again and again.
Just to
Just
try.
for one more chance for this fucking bullshit boss at the end that verbally tells you that you are nothing.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty great. The game's also maybe a little bit too long, though. It's like 44 minutes for a 1 credit clear.
Little long, yeah.
It's for a shmup, it's definitely, I'd say, on the longer-ish side, but not by too much. But yeah, that game is just, it's pure fun, I think. And like, the soundtrack.
Listening to you describe it, it sounded kind of like the opposite of Never Stop Sneaking.
Yeah.
Oh God.
This game just is, it's very aggressive and quick and doesn't outstay its welcome too much. And like, oh yeah, and there are a ton of enemy types. Like, every level is introducing new stuff. Like the first half of level 1 is literally just like one type of enemy that just Zerg rushes you. And I'm like, oh, this is a little basic. And then by the end, it's just like, oh, this dude like shoots a laser ring when he explodes. And this dude like fires a laser that you can't dash dodge through. Like, these things, like, there's a lot of enemy types. But again, they all have good like silhouettes and outlines. So, and sound effects. Like, like they'll have different sounds when they're gonna do their attack, so you're never really caught off guard by anything.
That's like using your soundscape to telegraph things like that in games that are that chaotic is a very smart thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. This game, it reminds me a lot of Fury.
Yes, I was going to say, it sounds like Fury.
It's kind of like Fury, but if it had stages.
Yeah.
So it's like the stage version, whereas Fury was all boss fights.
Yeah.
But then the boss fights in this are basically the same as the boss fights at the end of Fury, where like every boss fight in Fury, at the very end, they would just go full bullet hell.
Yeah.
So bosses in this pretty much are, where they're just like, oh yeah, now I'm going to sit at the top of the screen and fucking dump. But yeah, that game fucking rules.
Hell yeah.
And then I wasn't done with action games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So I played SteamWorld Dig 2, and I told Polly that between podcasts I completed 5 games.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh my god, whatever."
Yeah,
so,
I was just like, "Good. I don't want to do a podcast anymore."
So I'm gonna go through Next 4 real quick because Next Machina was the one I really kind of liked.
Do you wanna do the thing where we bounce back and forth, or do you wanna just go through them and then I'll go through mine and then we do it apart?
Because I want to go through them quickly. I played SteamWorld Dig 2, which is the sequel to one of those boring ass games where you just dig down and it's a randomly generated map. Mm-hmm. In SteamWorld Dig 2, it's kind of it is a predefined world map, and it's kind of a Metroidvania thing where there's power-ups and like actual level design. And like I heard this game really hyped up before I played it, and I'm like, oh, this is fine. Everybody that really likes this though didn't play Hollow Knight, so I kind of don't trust your opinion.
Yeah.
Basically. But like, it's fine. It's not Hollow Knight though.
That's kind of like to give perspective, like Hollow Knight is literally mine and Rhett's bar at this point for that kind of game. Mm-hmm. It is going to be real hard to impress us from this point forward.
Yeah. After that, I played a game Polly fucking loved. Ratchet & Clank.
Oh god, the PS4.
So, how many of those games have you played?
I've played a lot of Ratchet & Clank games.
That's the problem, is that this is only the second one I've played. So I'm like, it's fine. It's pretty good.
I thought the PS4 one was just boring as fuck.
I thought it was fine. I haven't played the original. I've only played Crack in Time, and like there were obviously things from that were missing in this that were a bummer to lose, like the whole kind of space map thing. Like the dogfighting was weak. Like
got kind of rushed after the movie.
Yeah, this is literally the movie, the game.
Gotcha.
Like they even open it with a joke. Oh, they made a game based on the movie coming out. Like it's pretty stupid.
Yeah, and like all of the cutscenes are literally just clips from the movie. So
it's not all of the cutscenes. It's maybe about half of them. But what's super annoying is that every time one of those pops up, because the PS4 informs you that you are not allowed to share this part because it's from the movie. So like you get this bling pop up.
Yeah.
Share enabled, then the cutscene ends. Bling, sharing re-enabled. And there's one point in the game where it has a fucking loading screen and then pops back up with another cutscene that goes, oh, you can't share this one either. For that 10-second loading screen in between, it was like, okay, you can share this part. I'm just like, really, guys, you didn't like hand program that one? I think the best thing in that game is the jetpack, and you don't get to use the jetpack very much.
Yeah, you get it, and you think, oh boy, the game's about to open up. And then, oh no, we're actually only letting you use this in like 2 stages. Yeah. And the awful final boss fight.
I liked the final. I was so happy when I got to use the jetpack on the final boss, literally because I'd forgotten that the jetpack was a thing in that game because it was so infrequently used. It's like the boss blows up the platform I'm standing on, and I'm like, oh, what are you supposed to... Oh, I have the jetpack! I forgot about that!
Yeah, you completely forget about it because it's never used past, like, the second hour of the game.
Yeah. It would have been such a game changer to be able to fly around all the areas you had been to previously, but...
So, Chrono Trigger, essentially.
I'm not sure what you mean, honestly.
In Chrono Trigger, by the end of the game, you get to travel back everywhere you have been with, like, a ship.
Yeah.
So...
Right.
Or like in the escape sequences in Bullet Phase, where you have the jetpack.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and again, the jetpack there is restricted to like 7 of them. Not the whole game. So still craving more action after Ratchet and Clank. I loaded up Infamous Second Son, the third Infamous game. This is the one on the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, I haven't played the previous 2 Infamous games. So the only thing I really want to talk about in this one is the karma system. So that's a big whole thing in this where it's like, oh, are you going to be a hero or are you going to be infamous? And I had forgotten that was a thing in this series. So the first choice they give you in this game is fucking awful. And like after having beaten it and kind of learning the main villain's motivations, this choice gets even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first choice is like, do you give yourself up to the bad guy to be killed, or do you like play stupid and not say anything? And that's the evil choice. So I'm like, well, I don't want to make the evil choice because I always play good in games, but like this choice is fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
So I did the evil choice, and then I was like, oh, fine, I guess for once I'll lean into playing the evil side in the game. And then it's like, it's the most edgy try-hard shit, where it's literally like, oh, dudes waving street signs around are annoying. If you kill them, you get evil karma. I'm like, you like fucking get bonus points for evil for killing street musicians. Like, it's super fucked up.
It's so try-hard.
It's really, and then there's a whole graffiti system, and like you can do good graffiti or evil graffiti, and all. I mean, both of them are pretty bad, but like the evil ones are real. Like, oh, Rage Against Machine is good, so I won't slander that.
I was about to say, like, don't go there.
It's like, oh, like, I'm cutting the heads off pigs, and the pigs are cops, or something like that. Like, so, like, I was like, this is real stupid, but I'm still going for the evil playthrough. And then I got to the second choice of the game. You meet a girl named Fetch, who I had played as. That's right, I played the DLC spin-off First Light before playing this, because it went up on PS Plus a while ago.
Yeah.
So I know this character, and I've played as her in the side game, and the choice you get in Second Son is, do you want to train her to be a serial killer, or do you want to train her to use her powers responsibly? And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this evil choice. This one is super fucked up.
Yeah?
So I switched. I went for the good side. Because, like, it was something inside me where it's like, well, I'm fine with my character being evil, but as soon as I'm using that power to, like, influence someone else to be evil, that's where it felt like...
That's kind of real fucked!
Yeah, that's the line where I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this anymore. Because she's a good kid. I'm not going to make her into a serial killer, too. Like, you know? And I just thought, like, karma systems in games are pretty fucking stupid because it doesn't allow for any nuance where it's just like...
it's really just like Paragon or Renegade. Like, that's it.
And it's just like...
Do you save the children, or...
Do you eat them?
Burn the children!
Say eat them, damn. Yo, we got some bits coming in.
Yo, we do.
Yeah.
We got some bits. Thank you, Taylor,
Thanks,
for the
Taylor.
5 bits. And thank you, Dances with Owoos, for the 6 bits.
It's just really silly because the karma system is just... There's no nuance. It's like, are you going to go 100% one way, or are you going to go 100% the other way? So I felt like I was being the true renegade by mixing it up. So I ended up, by the end of the game, losing all my evil karma and actually getting onto the good side. So I got the good ending.
So you, like, were able to pull it back around. Oh, my God. I'm not
Yeah.
doing this. Y'all can have your little battle in chat, but I'm going to stop acknowledging it at some point.
Is it making noise?
Yeah, not now.
Okay.
All right, so Zach posted 7, Maple posted 6. No, it was Taylor posted 5, then Maple posted 6 bits, and then Zach posted 7.
It's a bit war.
Dances with the Woos is actually Heather. So
Oh my God! Okay.
yeah.
I bet you. I feel like you understand the confusion there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. But yeah, like you were able to like pull your karma all the way back around.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shockingly.
Weird.
From like level 3 dark, I ended up finishing the game at level 3 light.
Oh my
Out of 5.
God.
But it's out of 5 this time, so it's like I wasn't 100% fully gone. What's fucking stupid though is that the skill tree is like a ton of like, oh, you need good karma for this and bad karma for this, so like you can never 100% it. Are you laughing at bits again?
I have to, and I have to call this one out. Taylor just threw in
Typed
fucking 1,500 bits.
Oh,
Wow.
those are real? Those are real?
He said, "This is mine."
Yeah. Taylor just said, "This mine." All right. Whatever, y'all. Y'all kids, do your knife fighting outside.
So infamous Second Son.
Yeah, it's fine. I think the nicest thing is that it's really short for an open world game. Like, at the end, they're like, "Oh, by the way, you can play it again and do the other Karma side if you want. Please.
No.
Play this game again." And I'm like, I kind of got both sides on one playthrough. I'm good.
Yeah. Like, up until the point where you had to turn a child into a serial killer, you were doing all right.
I mean, yeah, when you put it like that.
I would have had this whole supervillain thing figured out. They didn't tell me about the whole training kids to be serial killers thing.
That's what's so fucked up. The first choice results in, like, you hurting the feelings of an old woman. And the second one is, like, turn this kid into a serial killer. I'm like, yo, fucking dial it back a bit, please.
Slight difference in interpretation, really.
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
different.
wow.
It's just different interpretation.
What kind of path are you sending me on?
I kind of want to play a game where I'm serial killer buddies with somebody. That sounds fun. Oh well.
Oh, there's
There are
probably
games for that. Things like, I mean, they're all open world stuff like, Prototype, Infamous, stuff like that.
or Mass Effect. Like, evil shepherd, female shepherd is awesome. I will give her that.
So,
Any other games? Any other action?
So to wrap up the action, I played Bot Vice, a game Polly recommended over the
best-
Christmas sale on Steam.
The best $1 you will spend on Steam. I guarantee it.
It was 49 cents, actually.
Because you bought it on sale?
That game it's $5 normally.
Ah.
It was 90% off, 49 cents. I checked my Steam records, and I was just like, I actually felt bad I'd paid so little for it. Because at that point, it's like, okay, how much is Steam taking out? How much is a credit card transaction? Oh my god, they got like 20 cents for this. like Jesus Christ. Maybe I'll buy one of their $2 game at full price just to be like, hey,
Sorry, guys.
this is worth way more than the 49 cents I paid for it. Because Bot Vice is really good.
What is Bot Vice for the uninitiated? For the record, this is a game that I actually played last year and completely, when we were doing Game of the Year stuff, completely just off my radar for some reason. And, I loved this game. I played it at a friend's place. And then it just completely slipped my mind until the Christmas sales. And then it was on sale, and I bought a copy for myself, and was like, wait a minute. We already did the fucking Game of the Year podcast. Shit!
Did you only have 9 games, too?
Yeah, I only had 9 games on mine.
It's number 10 in your heart.
Now, I'd probably give that shit, number 7 or 6, easy.
Oh, jeez, really?
Yeah,
Not even...
I really like Bot Vice.
Well, when we do the text write-ups, you can fix that.
There you go. We'll get
We'll do
right
that.
the
This
fuck
game is
on that.
really pretty.
It's really pretty, and, it's really good action. It feels like a Lost Arcade game, because if you put this in an arcade, it would feel totally at home, because it's not that long. There's a time where it's just you have 35 minutes left, or whatever it starts at.
You've got, there's a fail state timer going on.
Yeah. But you could, you can go back and replay levels. It's not actually a big deal.
Yeah, you're going to be fairly okay by the time you finish the game.
Yeah, I had 9 minutes left.
Yeah, I had 7, so...
But this is a game where it's kind of a vertical shmup, basically. You're locked to the bottom of the screen, and enemies come in from the top and from the sides, and there's cover and dodge rolling, and you have a sword. There's a lot of defensive options, which kind of is a bit much at the very start, because it's also a very fast game.
Oh, God, yes.
And then you've got shoot, change weapon, you can lock on, so even though it's kind of a vertical shmup, you can just lock onto enemies and basically shoot them from anywhere on the screen, and it's just... There's a lot of action happening, especially towards the end of the game, where it's just yeah, we're just gonna, constantly give you bonus weapons, so you're like always having a machine gunner spread, and just shit's gonna be blowing up constantly.
Yeah, like have any of you all played like Wild Guns or Nam
Wild Guns is
75?
so good.
Like this is a top-down version of that, only way more chaotic.
Yeah, it definitely felt when I first saw what they were doing with it, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like Wild Guns. Like that was my definite first impression go-to. But it's kind of different because like that you're shooting into the screen. This is just more straight vertical, top-down view.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. It doesn't outstay its welcome, and like the story is ridiculously cheesy, kind of Saturday morning cartoonish stuff. Like they make a Ninja Turtles joke at one point.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And
this game is brutal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this game is really hard at parts.
It takes no prisoners from the first stage. Like this game does not play around.
Yeah, and like it made me think, oh, like. It's Cuphead that just doesn't have any tension, even though, you know?
Yeah.
Because the levels in this are about a minute long.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, so you'll just die and retry, and, like, finally get it, and it feels good. And, like, it gives you that satisfaction of clearing a stage that I just never got from Cuphead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, even though the stages are shorter, like, because they're so much more intense and brutal and, like, willing to kill you instantly, basically... Like
you're not losing much if you die, and even if you do, I imagine getting the full fail state game over, like getting back to where you were, is not going to take that long.
Can you not replay stages just to bring that time down if you got to that point? I
don't think so. I'm not sure.
I mean, we never had to try. And
yeah, like I never had to. Like I don't remember. Does it have like a super duper hard mode or something or?
I saw that there's bonus levels, like waves 26 through 50 now.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Not sure if I'm going to go through that, but yeah, there's a whole like second playthrough worth of stuff in there.
Oh my god.
It's on sale on itch.io right now. For
really?
Half off. Yeah.
Oh, half off, so $2.50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game's neat.
Yep, it's real good.
Cool. Good shit.
So I think because of Bot Vice, I think I'm finally kind of all actioned out. Maybe nice time to crawl up with a visual novel of sorts.
Yeah. Time to get yourself into Zero Escape finally.
Which I started and then kind of fell off immediately because I'm awful.
I get you. It took me like half of 999 before I was like, is this my jam? I'm not sure.
Oh really?
Is this my jam?
That's really reassuring.
Yeah.
Actually,
it took me a while.
I had a dream, I beat it and still didn't like it, and then I realized that, like, oh, right, there's like 8 different endings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I like that game a lot. I think it goes places.
Cool.
I didn't play it with puzzles, though, so I can't speak for that.
Cool.
So, John.
Yeah?
Heard you've been playing a game called Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60 Seconds. That's the video game?
That's the one? Oh.
Okay, good. So I'm glad y'all.
Wait. It was Half Minute Hero, right? Oh, was it?
I've been angry like all day.
Like all day, just intermittently.
Oh, I remember. It was you played 10-Second Ninja, right?
God, are there really a lot? I haven't played any of these, so I was like, oh, what a fresh premise.
It's a game called Zero Time Dilemma, I think.
That's not even the thing, though.
Super Time Force.
How many of these did you look up before this, Red?
I've got like 3 more, but I'm skipping them.
Okay.
All right.
The Dolphin, the Tides of Time. Okay.
It's the new MINIT. It's the new Devolver Digital game. I heard nothing but glowing things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you leaded me towards this one first, because that's what I wanted to talk about first, even though I did stuff before it.
But this was today's hot take.
The version of Minute that people are selling and talking about is not the game that it is. I want to impress that. Because people talk about Minute like it's a game, like it's a different game. Like they'll say, oh, it's like Groundhog Day. Oh, it's like da-da-da-da-da.
It's Zelda Groundhog Day.
It's Zelda Groundhog Day. But it isn't.
It's Majora's Mask?
No, it's not even that. It's all right. So this is a game. This is a top-down Zelda type game where where you pick up a cursed sword at the start of the game, and then from that on, every 60 seconds, your character dies, and then they're forced to restart from the very beginning.
So it becomes a roguelike?
Very beginning.
You'd think that.
60 seconds isn't really enough time to do much, though.
No. 60 seconds isn't a lot of time, which is what's really so cool about this, right? Mm-hmm. You have 60 seconds to do everything. You have to figure out, have to learn your way around this world, but only in 60-second chunks, and then you have to take that knowledge from each 60-second playthrough and build it up until you just have this huge wealth of knowledge you can build off of, right?
Is that the game people are selling it as?
Yes. So here's the list. Here are some things that carry over when you die. All of your items.
But that's probably a good thing.
All of your collectibles. There's a lot of collectibles.
Gotta have them doodads.
And here's the best part. You can set your respawn point to be multiple different places, to a different place. Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
That kind of changes things a little bit.
Yeah, you've got 4 or 5 different bonfires around this world that you can respawn from. Weird.
Huh.
So...
It's like people only reviewed the first 20 minutes of this game.
It's like it's like that again.
The first 20 minutes.
Boom!
So my ideal version of this game would be probably, nothing carrying over. Here's the vision of, a perfect moment for me. Would be you go, 50 seconds east of your starting house, and then you find a person that tells you, oh, if you want to go through the Lost Woods, you need to go north, south, east, up. Mm-hmm. And then you die. And then you go 30 seconds west of your house. And then you go into the Lost Woods. And now you know to go this way, this way, this way, this way. And then you get another crucial piece of information. And then you go beat the game and beat the final boss within one of those 60-second loops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you die on the final boss, it respawns you right where you left off. If you run out of time on the final boss, it respawns you right where you left off. If you die during the postscript ending sequence, then it just respawns you right where you left off.
It sounds like Half Minute Hero was the game that did this right. Only Half Minute Hero.
I haven't played that as a thing.
Half Minute Hero is a bunch of just many little RPGs that happen over the course of 30 seconds. And you can obviously do things like stop time here and there or give yourself a bit of extra time, but each little RPG has to be finished in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like this was kind of where their idea started, and then it kind of just lost. It sounds like it loses the track once you start having multiple places you can spawn from. When it starts becoming something that's much bigger than the scope of what it can actually do, because the dying every 60 seconds thing is a cool idea, because you can play around with that a lot. Even within a small, densely packed little world that you could make around the idea of 60 seconds, you could do fun things with that. But it sounds like rather than doing that, they just kind of copped out and went for the bigger game and kind of walking it back a little bit.
Yeah, that's basically it. Is that after a certain point, I was I started realizing this game wouldn't change at all if you took out the timer. This doesn't affect the rules. This doesn't affect how you do anything. There was almost never any points where I was oh no, I only have a few seconds left. Because whenever I had moments like that, it was just, I fucked around for 40 seconds, and then I wanted to get to this one place. And, am I going to get there? Oh, I just got there in time. And it's usually I want to get to this other checkpoint so that I can start over. You can press a button to die and restart whenever you want. There's no consequences for dying. So the 60-second timer isn't anything. It's just an inconvenience. It's like, all right, I guess I should go over here, and it's like I barely register it because it's not changing anything about how I'm playing the game. The checkpoints are always close by. There's next to no action. It's all just kind of puzzles, inventory puzzles. So
And
there's
inventory puzzles where your inventory carries over, I presume.
yes, where your
So it's
inventory
like-
carries over from level to level. So it's nothing.
So it's not like I've got to get this thing and then bring it over here real quick. It's I got
No.
this thing, then I die, then I just find where to bring it.
They have
Anything about it,
one
I'm
of
gonna step
those-
away for just a few minutes.
Right.
All right, y'all enjoy.
Right.
Sure. There's one of those where you have to get an optional heart edition, which again, all the collectibles are about increasing your combat ability when there are like 2 fights in the whole game.
That's kind of funny,
That's very silly.
but very silly, yeah.
But then there's 19 coins, there's 6 hearts to collect, there's 8 tentacles to collect, which gives you, which is whatever. So there's all these collectibles strewn around, and it means that there's like mysteries in the world that I didn't solve before I realized, oh, this is the climax. I didn't realize. Is this the climax? Yep, I guess it is. So then I had all these like unresolved threads, and then I YouTubed it afterwards, and all you get for the unresolved threads are collectibles.
Oh, wow.
So like I had all these. If you just had taken all those out, then at least I would have finished the game and felt like I'd finished the game.
Yeah.
But instead I finished it, and then it's like, well, there's all this stuff to do, and then if I had just gone and done it, I would have gotten nothing out of it.
This,
Like, at least Fez, you have to collect all the doodads
yeah,
to see the ending.
The doodads mean something. Like, whereas this is just like, we wanted to make this small, quirky, 1-minute death game, but then Devolver Digital, we signed with them, and they wanted a bigger game, so we had to make it bigger.
Yeah.
Which rendered our entire premise toothless. It's entirely toothless.
Yeah, there's no reason for it to be in the game. Like, you should just there is a version. So I googled it to see like if there was anything that happened if I collected all the collectibles. No. It unlocks another mode where you can play through the game without a timer.
Well, that's
After you've done
just
everything.
about the fucking stupidest thing. I swear
Yeah.
to God.
And once you beat the game, you unlock New Game Plus, which is the same thing but with a 40-second timer.
Oh
which-
my-
What?
Which tells you right away that nothing in the game was actually balanced to
for
like
60 seconds?
for 60 seconds.
Oh my god.
So like maybe some things will be more exciting with 40 seconds, but like I don't even think that
They should have
would be
just
true.
gone half-minute hero and made it 30 seconds.
And then fucking stuck with the committed to their premise instead of this weird half measure. It's just, and then like even if you took out the timer, it still wouldn't be like the best highlight like type game because it has those collectibles that don't add anything and kind of hurt the climax of the story because
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't realize I was at the end of the game. And also there's a couple puzzles that were because the rules of what carries over are so arbitrary. Like there are times where solving a puzzle means knowing that this part is intended to carry over or this part is not intended to carry over. This resets at the 60-second timer. And the rules that determine that are arbitrary.
Mhm.
So, like, Majora's Mask has a lot of this with its timer stuff because it has to be a Zelda game, blah, blah, blah. But, like, individual Clock Town quests, especially, like Anju and Cafe,
Yeah. They all reset.
they commit to it completely in a way that this game does not. And then, yeah, it's impossible to beat the final boss in 60 seconds. Like, you have to die at some point during it.
That's...
And then it just restarts you because it has like 5 forums.
That's really
That's real shit. That sounds awful.
Yeah, I watched a speed run and they died during the final boss. So
This really sounds like a game that was meant to be this small little thing, but because Devolver grabbed him, like, they had to make it bigger.
and then it just completely falls apart. Like it's Ooh, I've spent all day like kind of seething and being a little bit mad that like it's one of those things where I get a little bit mad because everyone talks so glowingly about it. Like no, like ugh. So I had to kind of put my energies out into the world a little bit. Really, y'all?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Especially because this kind of looks like the stuff you usually play on itch.io, but this is getting like actual coverage and media attention.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, why this one?
Yeah, it's like the shit I played on itch.io, except video gamified.
Yeah.
And just blown up. There's nothing more disappointing than something that is like than a game that gets ruined because of scope, like blowing up the scope.
Yeah.
Because then I'm sitting here thinking, if you had worked less hard on this, it would have been better. And that sucks, because that's the easiest thing to do, is to work less hard on something. And they didn't. If they'd just done that, I would have been happy. But no, they had to put probably months and months more work into it to make sure it had all these collectibles, to make sure it was big, to make sure it had all these checkpoints. Like the logistics of it. I'm just thinking through all the work of programming these things that make the game shittier. Ugh.
Oh my god.
So,
how long is it?
2 hours for me.
So it's still relatively short. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like they were like, well, it's going to be on Steam now, so it has to be 2 hours long.
I guess. And then they have these extra modes that are fine, but
the
they'd be fine.
The no timer one really kind of says everything it has to about the game, I think. Like
says a little more than they may have wanted that to say.
Because I remember before you had totally turned on this game, like you said, oh, is there a way to turn off the timer? And I was thinking that'd be real easy to do in Cheat Engine. Just like open it up, like search value, and then wait 1 second. Search value changed, and then just lock it at like 58 seconds or whatever. And it's a pleasant little RPG.
If you took out the collectibles, just reduce the screen count a little bit to account for that. And took out the timer, it would be like a pretty pleasant little short thing. Like I'd be into that.
How many collectibles are there? You seem to really not like them.
There are 19 coins, which lets you buy 2 items. One that are shoes that make you go faster, and one that's some other bullshit.
Some bullshit.
And then you get 8 collectibles. You get 8 tentacles recovering for this octopus. And then he gives you some other bullshit. I watched a YouTube video, so I can't quite remember. But it was like, it makes your sword stronger or something. Again, there's 2 bosses. There's like 2 encounters. One that are puzzles, and then one is the final boss where when you die, you just restart where you left off. And then there's 6 extra hearts that you find strewn about. And yeah, there's like one really mega complicated riddle where you have to like revisit this room and die after starting in like all 3 of the checkpoint houses, and then it opens up a door, and then behind the door is 1 coin. Like it's playing as a joke, but also like that's every mystery in the game is
a coin.
Every mystery in the game is that fucking coin.
So I've been mentally kind of figuring out what's this version of the game that I'd really like, and we have like a mostly finished game where you just run around like doing like little inventory puzzles for people and RPG Maker, me and Anna, and like I like that game way more than this one. I want to just finish that and like put it out so that I can be like, well, we made a better version of this at least. All right, I'm getting into my kind of like arrogant headspace, but like, yeah, it's kind of like when I finished Middens. I was like, okay. I feel like, any other questions? I feel like I kind of...
Like, no, like, this game is a game that, when I was watching all the praise being heaped on it, it gave me that very distinct feeling of, they're only talking about the first 20 minutes. I know they're only talking about the first 20 minutes. I bet this game gets real boring real fast.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Giant Bomb quick look of the first 20 minutes.
They look pretty good, huh?
Yeah, and then they did a puzzle and got a coin, and the coin carried over, and I'm like,
What if you only had like 3 coins in the whole game, and you could buy an item that carries over somehow, but you have to like run around and find all the coins in the same like 60 seconds?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That would be a fun little way that that would be a fun little spin on the actual 60-second timer and make it not toothless.
I don't think there's a single time in the whole game where like I started a 60-second run thinking I want to do this thing, and then I didn't execute on it and had to restart and try again. Like, I don't think that ever happened.
Jeez.
Ooh.
Just, yeah. That's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. So, I played 2 really good games.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
I know one of them.
Sure. Well, I finished Trails in the Sky first chapter.
Yes.
That's a pretty good game.
I really liked it. It's really good.
Goes full fucking ham at the end, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Like, that entire final chapter is pretty incredible.
Yep. Yeah, like it I was put off a little bit at the start because there's a tournament arc, but then like all of the tournament fights are rooted in these characters that you already met in the in the whole rest of the game up to that point, and all of them were kind of cathartic.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like 5 hours of like end game Final Fantasy VII excitement, and then it was like a 5-hour version of the Return to Midgar with like that level of tension and excitement.
Yeah.
And then they have the final dungeon, and it's awesome.
It's pretty good.
So what I was deathly afraid of with Trails in the Sky was that it would just kind of keep continuing the way it did, just kind of like, all right, and then here's another little story, here's another little story, and here's our cliffhanger, and better go play a second chapter.
Nope.
And I'd leave.
Doesn't go that way at all.
Nope.
You finally earn your way into the JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that is a game where you kind of spend that entire first game, like, earning the right to kind of, for it to feel right, for you to be in the JRPG that's happening in the background.
Yep.
And when you finally get put into it, it feels natural.
Yeah. And you are in it for the last, 8 hours, so...
Yeah.
I felt like... I think this is a good game on its own. That's kind of what I was really hoping for, that it would leave me feeling kind of satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. It's a good story. And then it ends on the most last 5 or 10 minutes are the biggest, best gut punch cliffhanger. I have to go play the next game ever.
Real fuck. I've never had a game sequel bait me that fucking hard. It's so just oh, fuck you, video game. But it's done in the best possible way. And it's it's in a good way. You love the game for making you feel this way, because it means it's actually working. It's doing something right here. You care enough to want to see what the fuck just happened. Why did my world get turned upside down?
Because it's basically they're not holding the resolution of the story over your head.
No.
They resolve all the main threads.
Yeah,
and it's satisfying.
The entire story that you are dealing with throughout that entire first game, it gets resolved.
Yeah.
You feel good about it. You get those feel-good moments.
And then it starts the next story.
Yeah.
And the start of it is so good that you really want to continue.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then you wait 7 years for it to be localized.
Woo! The people that had to do that.
Oh, God. I don't think that people are going to get what I did out of the climax if they did not enjoy the rest of the game up to that point.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think I started getting invested around the Chapter 2 finale. It's just real fun. It's this kind of like most of the episodic Chapter 1, 2, and 3 climaxes are like kind of rooted in these, especially Chapter 1 and 2 are these kind of cute action adventure anime little stories that resolve like really satisfyingly, and like Chapter 2 is a mystery basically.
Yeah.
And so that resolution was really good in a small way, and at that point on I was like, all right, yeah, I'm here for this. I'm completely here for this. So like, it's slow. I would say if you basically like the characters and writing at the start, then maybe give it up to the end of the Chapter 2 to really grab you.
Yeah. You like I said, like Trails in the Sky, the first game, it's a hard sell because it is such a slow burn, and it's very purposefully a slow burn, but it's trying to give you the view of this world that these characters have. It wants you to live there for a bit, and living there for a bit means doing just some basic ass normal people things in this world.
Mm-hmm. We're both talking directly to Rhett while pretending to talking to the world at large, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this series so much on this show, and I've just heard so much. That's a slow burn, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get bored by the prologue, but you know, at the end of Chapter 2, it starts getting much better.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean it's good. Like Chapter 1 and 2 are both like complete stories. Like it's just or complete episodes. They're complete like arcs of television. Which is kind of how it is, how it's structured, I think, is like little, mostly self-contained arcs of TV, and then you get to the finale where all these little threads that were kind of building in the background kind of explode in this really cool way.
Like Breaking Bad happens. without the meth. Without the meth.
So, yeah, I don't know, like, you generally would want, like, a story, like a super tightly paced game to be like kind of every action is building directly to the next part of the story, is building to the next part, where it's very like tightly paced and constructed. Whereas this is very episodic. It's very television-y, and I got a lot out of it. So I liked it.
Yeah, and at least
and that's without any context for the second season.
And at least
second show.
Yeah, and at least
second game.
At least until the story starts picking up in the final bits, at least you could like play it like you would watch a TV show. You could put it down after, you know, after the prologue. You can put it down after the first chapter.
Months.
Yeah, you can come back to those parts. Years. You can come back to those parts, but then, like, once the story kind of starts kicking into full gear, I think by that point, they have your attention.
Yeah, I played the back half of the game in, like, 4 days. Like, so, praise there.
Yeah.
I think if you put it down for a year, I played it over the course of 5 months, which I think was about as long as I could have done it, because they do, like, return to characters from the prologue in Chapter 1. Like, everyone has a reason to be there. So I'm glad I didn't stretch it out any longer than that. Basically, Rhett, if you go back to it, you should restart from the beginning.
That's what I was thinking, but like, that's the most dangerous thing you could possibly do, you know?
True.
Is go through the most boring part that made you drop it before again.
Did you just play the prologue?
I played like 10 minutes into Chapter 1 or something.
Maybe just like open up a YouTube thing and be like, all right, what's happened one more time? And just kind of
get like a YouTube video of the prologue or something.
Yeah, don't watch, like, you don't have to watch, and then just hop back in. Like, it's fine. You're not gonna, it's not like they're threading a bunch of, it's not like it's really complicated and you have to keep track of it. It's just like when characters come back, you probably want to remember them. But I think there's only like 1 or 2.
Trails in the Sky is not a complicated story. Yeah. It is very straightforward. Like, you're not going to be lost at any point, but like some characters popping up again at some point later, you might want to have that context later. Yeah.
Although again, like, if you just played the prologue and a little bit of Chapter 1, like, you could probably jump back in and there's almost no characters that you'll... Yeah, you're probably fine, actually. Go for it.
Yeah.
Right after the Zero Escape trilogy.
Yeah, just crank through all those. It's fine. VLR is short, right, Polly?
Oh yeah, VLR. It only took another streamer friend of mine 55 hours.
God. Yeah, it was like 35, which is about my Trails in the Sky first chapter experience. Maybe a little shorter for Trails.
And don't worry
Last
about
dungeon's
me.
beefy.
Don't worry about me. I finished Witcher 3.
Yeah, you feel like, and nobody does that.
No one finishes Witcher 3. I never finished Xenoblade, though. That's the one that literally no one has ever actually beaten.
Yep. That's true. Well, Witcher 3 is, like, good, so.
Oh!
Ooh, shots over the bow.
You're right. That was mean.
We are full of some hot takes tonight.
I mean, I don't know why they made a Xenoblade 2 when no one actually finished the first game. They're probably not connected at all.
Like, 2 million people bought the 3DS remake, and then nobody finished it.
I never even heard of anybody buying the 3DS one, so...
Yeah,
true.
I don't know a single person that bought that.
Well, I had such a great time playing all of it on the Wii. I better get back to that. I want to revisit that story.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's actually important context. I started Trails immediately after the first 5 hours of Xenogears.
Oh, right.
Yup. So Xenogears has zero chill.
Yeah,
it is the most PS1 RPG. And then Trails is the anti-PS1 RPG.
But it still looks like a PS1 RPG.
While it's still looking like one. So it felt so good right away because I had come off the context of Xenogears. So imagine you just played Final Fantasy VIII and Xenogears in the preceding couple years, and then maybe you'll have a better time with Trails because it's not that, which feels so good. There's no bullshit. There's no moon monsters. There's no there's no like fucker in a black cape showing up in front of the moon and being like, I'm the bad guy. Like 4 hours into the game, like in Xenogears.
Oh, but Xenogears does have giant robots.
That's
yeah,
true.
that's a good point.
Hey.
Trails 3 has a giant robot, I'll have you know.
I haven't played the sequel, but Trails might have some giant robots in it. I'm just saying. It's a good game.
Yeah.
I like it. You want me to go push through the last one real quick?
Push through the last one. Let's do it.
Push
All
it,
right.
baby.
Push it real
Push
good.
it real good.
Yes!
Hey, you guys want to know what game is a fucking masterpiece?
Chrono Trigger. Undertale.
Next Machina.
Nex Machina. You got some, LRock?
Masterpieces? Oh shit. Super Mario RPG?
Agreed.
Cool.
Right.
Citrcane's Kamui, the 1999 Dojin shmup for Windows PCs.
I don't like any of the Kamui games.
Really?
I
thought you said you really liked Reflex.
Reflex is a Kamui game?
Yeah, it's the game made by the same people.
But it's
like,
not a
at the direct
Kamui game. Kamui is bad. Reflex is good.
Reflex is made by the same people. Like as
it doesn't mean it's the same kind of shmup.
All right.
They got better.
They got way better because Reflex is better.
Sure, it is. Like, sure.
Listen to this
Anyway,
condescending.
I didn't play any dumb other games by Citrcane. I played Kamui, which is their third one and the first one on Steam. The Reflex was a remake of one of their shmups, and the Ali Tech's second is a remake of another one of their shmups. So Kamui is the third game chronologically, but came before those two shmups, including Reflex, which is the second chapter chronologically, but came... Never mind. So I really like... Red played this game. You quarter-fed your way through it. How'd you...
So I got this game on Desura like 5 years ago.
Remember Desura? That hot platform for getting video games?
So apparently, like, as of a year ago, it's back. Like, they got bought out or, like, revived, and, like, all the downloads are back. And so my account is still there. But, like, 5 years ago, I played, like, 30 seconds of Kamui and was like, this is Kusage, and just closed it.
Jesus!
Like, I just didn't like how that game felt immediately.
Yeah.
So after hearing John rave about it for, like, a couple days, No, see, this was only a couple days into the week straight.
All right.
I loaded it up, like, after day 1 or 2 of you raving about it, and I quarter fed through it, and I was like, okay, that was fine. And then you kept going on about it for like 5 more days, and I'm like, maybe chill a bit. It's not that good, is it?
It is!
Yeah.
Though.
It's fine. It's no Toho.
It is, though.
No, get the fuck off my podcast right now.
I exclusively played, like, arcade shmups and Toho games, and then someone mentioned, I think, like, Exceed Third, and I googled it, and I was like,
Exceed Third is such a pretender to the throne, it's ridiculous.
What?
Okay.
I like that one.
I don't think it's bad, I just think it's just like, oh, okay, you're just doing the very same thing Toho is doing.
Alright.
Exceed Second is Ikaruga. I like that one.
So I also bought Danmaku Unlimited 3 on the Switch because it was on the Switch, and then I played it for like a couple days and I was like, oh, this is fun, and then I realized this is completely boring.
It's completely boring and lifeless. There's no heart to it.
I mean, that name.
It's just shmup. Shmup.
Yeah.
This is the shmup.
I kind of want to make a game called Shmup now.
It has some Kmart brand Ikaruga aesthetic.
Oh, wow.
It has some really fun bullet patterns, and everything else is Kmart brand Ikaruga.
Kmart brand Ikaruga.
The title of the first chapter in Danmaku Unlimited 3 is Yesterday's Tomorrow, and then it has a little
That's redundant.
Kanji. It has a little.
It has a kanji. Oh my god!
Of course, it has a kanji.
Wait. Is this game not made by Japanese
people?
This is
not
it's not.
Okay, that's real bad then.
And I'm not saying that you have to be Japanese to use kanji in your video game, but it's just the context with which this is being used. It's like that's like Treasure, the way that they always present their stages is that you've got like the English name and then like a very stylized kanji to the side of it. And like it sounds like Danmaku Unlimited just kind of like, hey, that's a thing a shmup does.
Mm-hmm. And like the bullet patterns and the pacing are actually really on point, which makes the complete lifelessness of the aesthetics like that much more frustrating.
Yeah, it's just like Danmaku Unlimited is like mechanically like we got it all, but like there's no.
It's really nice. They have a practice mode. They have a bunch of difficulty selects. You can practice any boss you want.
But it's just like, it's all lifeless because there's no personality to any single part of that package.
It's got no soul.
No soul.
Mm-hmm. It's everything about shmups, but the part that matters.
To John.
To John.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
Like Dodonpachi is also kind of a little bit dry.
Yeah. The love that game gets. And I'm not saying Dodonpachi is bad.
'Cause it's not.
I just think that it's kind of Like you play a lot of arcade games yourself, right, LRock? Are you familiar at all with Dodonpachi, or do you have any?
I played Dodonpachi a little bit.
Yeah, I it was the first cage shmup I played, and I had a lot of fun with it. And it did like kind of invent this new genre, which is cool. And that boss theme's really iconic.
Yes.
I mean, if that was like the first Danmaku game, I can see why people would revere it.
I like it. It's good.
But I
think
this
game is like 2017 though, 2016-17, and the standards are different. I feel like for being expressive, and even then, Cabe immediately went and made a bunch of way more like interesting shmups with that style, like ESP Rade and Ketsui, and goes on and on and on. They made Hot Topic Danmaku with Death Smiles, so good on them.
Hot Topic.
That's what that game is, though, right? That's what Death Smiles is.
It's Hot Topic with little girls.
Yeah,
so
that's
very.
It's that lowly gothic kind of.
Oh my god! Remember the catchphrase for that? Like, Death smiles at you, lowly smile back.
Oh god!
Like fucking the worst.
God. They literally list the ages on the character select screen just so you can know
that you're playing as like an 11-year-old. Like they're excessively young.
With horny designs, like that's what makes it bad. Like it'd be cool to have a kid game, but that's the mess.
I think in general, though, me and John value different things in shmups than like shmup heads do, where they're all about like scoring systems and bullet patterns, and we're like more about aesthetics and like a story and like flow.
Taking you on a journey.
Yeah. Like that's what my games are all about. Like having a story and like having connections between the levels.
Mm-hmm. And our games are really different, but we kind of share that in common, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Danmaku Unlimited 3 is just nothing. So going from that to Kamui, which has like a really, really cool aesthetic, by which I mean it rips off Rayforce. But like with its own spin, I think. In that it's way cheaper looking.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's a budget Saturn game.
It's like Rayforce, but much cheaper looking, which is so my shit. Because I play Kamui, and I think maybe I could make a game that looks like Rayforce, but way cheaper looking someday. And like that's really inspiring to me, because when I play Rayforce, it's like I don't have a team of 10 people getting paid for a year to make this, so I could never make anything like this. And Kamui gives me hope. And I think it's fucking gorgeous. It still like has that layered 2D sprites backgrounds. It makes enemies are coming up from the bottom, from beneath you and above you, and the language is like mostly clear about what is and isn't
on the
interactable and what can hurt you.
Yeah,
like it's pretty good about that. There's a couple points where it's a little muddy, but like for the most part, it's very solid on that, because that could devolve into visual nonsense really easily.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you're not color coding that stuff properly, you got yourselves the makings of a bad video game. Hello, latest Toho game.
Yeah, but they do, so it's okay. And I think you got a much bigger hitbox than like a Danmaku Unlimited 3, which is cool. It's like
it's totally fine. You don't have to have a shmup. You don't have to have a bullet hell game that adheres to my hitbox is 3 pixels.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, this is a little different, and I kind of am into it. It has the basic rule set with you have 3 weapons, and to me it's just like completely genius and amazing. Where you have 2 buttons, one of them fires homing missiles into the background enemies, one of them shoots your gun moving straight forward, and if you hold both of them, you fire a laser. And you can only do one of them at a time. So, like, when I was playing Crimson Clover for a little bit, I realized that I was just kind of, like, holding fire and then also holding lock-on, releasing lock-on when I heard enough people locked onto, holding lock-on, releasing lock-on. So it just kind of became this sort of brain-dead thing I was having to do with my index finger the whole game. Whereas this, I was like having to think about it. Like, can I focus on enemies right in front of me, or do I want to fire into the background? And then that the laser fires in front of you for a ridiculous amount of damage, and the laser destroys bullets, which is delicious.
That's always a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can carve your way through bullet hell patterns when you don't have the hitbox to navigate them, which is so tasty. And firing the laser cuts into your ability to use the background missiles in a cute way. So it all is interconnected, and there's a push-pull between all 3 weapons that's really, really smart. So I love that. It has really good bosses. From stage 2 on, they all have like these kind of multi-phase attacks, and all right, I feel like I've already gone on too long, but the bosses are really good. The storytelling isn't as like good and clear as Rayforce, but I read the program notes that a friend sent me, and I was like, oh, there's all this lore, and I read a bunch of the lore, and now I know exactly what's happening, and I'm like entranced. So, yeah.
Or when you beat the game, it dumps the lore on you in 30 seconds, and you're just like,
oh, there's so much lore.
Oh, jeez. They give you the Cliff Notes version. It's still a lot.
Yup. Oh, they're so into it. And this is the final chapter. They start with the final chapter to the story that Reflex and Ulti Second continue. I'm very excited to play Reflex. It's probably going to be much better than Minute.
It's the better game. You should be excited to play that game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if Kamui... Yeah. So Reflex is longer, and then Kamui is so tightly paced, so I'm a little worried jump into that. But I think I'll enjoy that. I feel like I trust these devs with the longer story than I wouldn't necessarily trust a rando shmup dev to make a 50-minute shmup. But Kamui's devs, yeah, I'm there. So I loved it. I'm excited about it.
Awesome.
And that's everything I've done.
Awesome.
I'm still media clean otherwise.
Still media clean. Good.
Yeah.
Good. So, I didn't really do a whole lot or enough that I would really dedicate a segment on a podcast to. So, I'm kind of just going to go ahead and start getting us wrapped up here for the night. So, firstly, I want to thank our special guest, LRock, for stopping by, giving us your time. It has been an absolute pleasure. I hope we didn't bore you to tears.
No, not at all. I appreciate you having me, and thank you. I'm the one that should be thanking you, I feel.
No. You're far too kind. Yeah, But how can I be great when you're great?
Can we both be great?
We
can we just revel in greatness?
You know what? I'll let you have that one. I am pretty great after all. So.
Yes, you are.
So why not, for our folks who will be listening just on the archive version, they won't have the benefit of video, let everybody out there in internet land know where they can find you on the internets to keep up with all of your various exploits.
For myself?
Yes.
I'll put it in chat, of course, since you're allowing me the free chance to plug. Definitely, there's my Twitch page if anyone that wants to follow.
But this is a podcast, LRock. You have to tell us with your voice as well.
I know. I'm just doing that because that's easier first. Plus, I can't remember myself, so I had to type it out.
Okay.
Anyone wants to follow my stream can follow me at twitch.tv/LRock, LRock, and the number 617. That's also my Twitter handle, which is also where you can find me. And I can't think of anything else. Facebook's more of like a local friends thing for me, so I don't give that out. So Twitter or Twitch is really the best place to get in touch with me.
Cool beans.
And that's where you can find my Discord links.
Yes.
Because I got one of those.
And everybody definitely be sure to check out LRock's streams. I try to be there as much as I can. Always have a good time. Just super laid back. Awesome gameplay on top of that. And he's super awesome at interacting with chat. You will have yourself a great time. I guarantee it.
Oh, thank you, Polly.
Not a problem. John Thayer, where can we find you?
FarWayTimes.com.
Ritz, where can we find you?
Twitch.tv/Eric'sJoystick.
You can find me in my dumb website where you done got this stupid podcast. And remember, we are the podcast that loves you. We are the only ones that love you. And that's a show.
Woo!
Woo! You can all relax now. It includes all you people out there. I haven't stopped streaming yet, so don't go talking about chat behind its back yet.
This one person laughed at me for saying Danmaku wrong, apparently.
Wow, who would say that? I want to, of course, thank everybody that was just overwhelmingly kind with your bits. It was far too generous for having a little bit war in chat there. Apologies that I didn't, call those out and that I turned off the notifications, but it's, a podcast and I kind of don't want those kind of, alerts going off in the middle of a podcast constantly while we're trying to have a conversation. So I hope there's no hard feelings over that, and I hope you all know that I do appreciate it. Anything else anybody else wants to say before we get on up out of here?
That's going to do it for me. It's not my show, so I really don't have anything else to throw out.
All right. We will catch you.
You're doing a great job, and we love you.
You're doing a great job.
Indeed.
All right. We will catch you guys next time. You'll probably catch me streaming sometime tomorrow. More Bad Dudes or Contra grinding. So back to the old drawing board with that. Catch y'all later. Good night.